story time on how I have to get a restraining order on my ex-maintenance man because he is actively stalking me. So it basically all started. He got hired at my company. He was just a temporary maintenance guy. He just did like grounds and took out trash and kind of just helped around with the small little things. And then it got to our company event, our Christmas company event. And we decided that we were going to officially hire him instead of him being temporary. And so he was going through the process of all that. And because he was being hired, he is now allowed to go to this Christmas party that we're going to have for the company. And so he doesn't have a car. He's living in a hotel. And so he asked if I could give him a ride. And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I don't care. Like, we're all going to the same place. We're all working together. We're all, I don't care. We're going to a company event. It's not like this man asked me on a date. Company event. So we get in the car, we drive over there, and when we get over there, he is walking around and mingling, whatever, but he's like really sticking by me. Like, he is not really moving from my side other than like just a couple people like around me, he's like just mingling around me. And I kind of thought I'd take him, he would mingle, like go away, I would go away, like, there was an arcade, there was food. I was just trying to I didn't even want to be there. I was just trying to go, and he asked me like 7 times if we could go and get tacos after. And I was like, no, I'm tired. I just want to go to bed. We're getting off of work early. We're going to get out of this party early. Like, I never get to take a nap. I just want to go home and take a nap. I don't want to go get tacos. And like I said, he asked me like 7 times. And so by this point, a little bit later, my manager walks up to me and is like, hey, so-and-so said that we're going to go get tacos after this. That seems awesome. I'm going to go with y'all, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And obviously maintenance dude told my manager that I wanted to go get tacos, so we would have to go get tacos, and I would feel almost obligated because another person was asking and wanted to go, because I'm nice. I don't know. We go get tacos. We're all like eating and stuff. He's sitting there like talking about his dream girl and all this bullshit and just some odd things, Not really odd things, but just like, it was a dude maintenance guy and my dude manager. They were just talking dude, and I'm just sitting there trying to eat a taco. But yeah, I was just tired. I was ready to go, whatever. And so we get done eating tacos. He needs a ride back to his hotel that's next to the work. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so we drive 30 minutes back, like across Denver, trying to get back to work. I take him to the hotel. He won an ice cream machine at the event or whatever, and so he was like, hey, can I run this upstairs, and could you do me a huge favor? Could you like take me to the bank so I can deposit this check so I can pay my phone bill since my phone got turned off today, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, that's fine, I don't mind. Again, this man does not have a car and is living in a hotel, and I work with him. I didn't get weird from him. It was more just like funny coworker vibes. I don't know. He was a 50-year-old man. I should have known, I should have known. But I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take you to the bank, whatever. I felt bad. He doesn't have a car. Take him to the bank, he deposits his shit, take him back to the hotel, and I drop him off. And then the next day, I had a really bad shift. I had to work extra. He wasn't there because it was like a Saturday or something, and they don't work on Saturdays. And he knew I was there because I was texting in the group chat because I was asking the other maintenance guy about some things. And so he knew I was at work. He texted me after I was like about to get off and was like, hey, I really need to ride somewhere. It's on your way home. I just needed you to drop me off like on your way. And I was like, okay, are you sure I'm just dropping you off? Because I'm not going to pick you up and take you back home. Like, I need to go back home. I'm not a chauffeur. Like, I'm just going to drop you off on my way since you were also on my way. And he was like, yeah, no, I don't need you to take me back or nothing. I'll be fine. It's like, okay. And so I drive him to this place. He doesn't tell me where he needs to go. He just tells me, pull in here as I'm driving down the road. I look over and it is a sex shop, and I thought that was crazy because what is this 50-year-old man needing to go to a sex shop for? And he lives in a hotel. He also didn't have his phone turned on, so I know he's not getting bitches. So what exactly do you need to go to a sex shop for, And I told him I couldn't drive him back, so I dropped him off and I immediately pulled out of the parking lot and left. And on my way home, he calls me multiple times and texts me, and he's like, I didn't know you were just gonna leave like that. Like, I needed a ride back home. I obviously did not answer him until I got back home because I was driving home, and he basically said, I didn't think you were leaving. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? I literally told you when you called me, I was not going to take you back home. I have shit to do. Like, I need to go home. I'm not just driving you around everywhere. And he was basically like, okay, thank you. Like, thank you for everything. Whatever. Okay. At this point, I thought this man was just using me for my car because we worked together. And I was like, fine. Like, if I didn't have a car, I'd probably be bumming rides too. Like, I can't really, and I'm nice. And he knows I'm nice, so of course I'm going to take him, especially when I'm already at work. I just thought he was using me for my car. I go to sleep. I wake up, and I have a text message from him. I'm not at work because I don't work on Sundays. I have a text message from him, and it says, good morning, how are you? I really need to talk to you about something. And I didn't answer because I was just like, you know, just as a woman, you get those feelings, like when a dude texts you something like that, you're just like, I see. So I didn't text him back, and it was also like 9 a.m. So I laid in bed for a while. He called me 4 times. I didn't answer, and then he texted me, and he was like, I really need to talk to you, or I need to talk to you about something, or something along those lines, I don't know. And I texted him back, and I was like, I just woke up, what's up? And he's like, I need to talk to you. I was like, okay, I'm about to get in the shower. What's up? Doesn't text me back. And so I get out of the shower, and at this point I can feel that he wants me to call him because he's obviously not saying what he wants to say in text message because he doesn't want like some sort of like tracking or whatever, or he just wants me to call him. So I pop up my laptop and I press record, and I record the conversation. It is exactly how you think it's gonna go, kinda. He tells me that after our work event the other day, whenever I dropped him off, he was super jealous that I was going home to my boyfriend. And I've talked about my boyfriend a million times, so this man knows that I've had a boyfriend or whatever. And he knows that I wouldn't have entertained anything that he's about to say because I have a boyfriend. And I love my boyfriend. I talk about him all the time. I rave on him. That man is everything. But he tells me that he gets jealous that I'm going home to my boyfriend after I drop him off. And he is so upset that he relapses on meth. On meth. And I'm just standing there shocked, honestly, because I'm just like, what do you even say to that? He is old enough to be my father, and this man tells me that he relapsed on meth because he was so jealous that I was going home to my boyfriend. What? And then he's just like, yeah, you know, I shouldn't be jealous because, like, you're not even my girlfriend yet. And I'm, like, shocked at what I'm hearing because I'm like, keywords, yet, meth, like, you know, I'm shocked. It's recording. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that you relapsed. That's horrible. I know how that feels, so that's like really awful. Not to that extent. I don't know it, like, I don't, you know, meth is crazy. I've never. But I was trying to steer the conversation away from him having a thing for me and more of like, I'm sorry that you're relapsing, like I hope I can help you out in that sort of way. You know, like maybe I can end the conversation like that and we can just, you know, because like drugs do crazy things to people, and so like maybe he was on drugs and he just felt a certain type of way, you know. I guess it happens. And so I was trying to be nice, I really was, and he just kept bringing the conversation back to like me and how I'm his dream girl and how he doesn't care that I wear a lot of makeup and I'm just so perfect. And I literally brought up the fact that I'm 25 and the same age as his daughter, and he was like, yeah, but I like that, you know. Now I'm shocked because that is alarm bells for me, because even though I'm not a child, that seems very predatory, you know, like, I was so shocked. He just kind of keeps going on. I keep telling him, you know, like, you can't be calling me saying that you're relapsing on meth because of me. I'm sorry you're going through this. It's really hard. Like, I hope I can help you out through drugs or whatever, but, like, I'm not interested in you, obviously. And he's like, yeah, you know, I just had to get it off my chest because I felt really guilty, and, like, you wouldn't have even known if I would have told you. And I was like, no, because I wasn't getting those vibes at all. I don't know where this came from. And, like, maybe I'm oblivious, but goddamn, like, I should have known. I've been around these types of men. I know how they work. I just don't understand how I didn't see it. We get off the phone, and I immediately call my boyfriend, and I tell him what happened, and he tells me I need to call my manager, and I'm like, yeah, I know, it's just crazy, and I needed to tell you because this isn't, like, an everyday thing. And I also feel bad because the man, like, is just getting hired onto my property. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have an apartment. So it's, like, I feel bad that he's finally getting, like, a good, stable job rather than being, like, a temp or whatever. And then I'm about to go fuck it up, but he reassured me that it's not me fucking it up because he was being creepy and, like, I was just being nice, you know. And so it's like, it's not my fault that he went and did this the day before he was supposed to get hired, and he basically ruined his chance at a job. I don't know. But I call my manager, Angel. She's incredible. Like, the way that she handled this, like, no shade on my company at all. They couldn't have known he was the way he was because they drug tested him. He was clean. Obviously, I said he relapsed, you know. So, like, I don't know how long that takes to get out of your system, but called my manager. She was incredible. She handled the whole thing so perfect. She is so kind. She's so amazing. She was on top of everything. So no shade to her, no shade to my company. Like, they did their thing. People are crazy, and they took care of me. Okay, let me get that out of the way. But my manager was, like, in shock as well. She's like, yeah, this is insane. Let me see what I can do, because she also felt bad that he was, you know, but she's a manager. She also was ex-HR. You know, so she was like, yeah, let me talk to my HR people. Let me see what we should do. We haven't technically hired him. Like, let me just see what the next steps are, and I'll get back to you. I'm like, okay, sounds great. Me and my boyfriend go out later that night, or later that day, because we were going to go Christmas shopping and watch the the game. Sorry, my nose is itching so much. But we were gonna go watch the game because it was Sunday, and I think it was the Broncos and somebody. I don't know. But Broncos killed it that day. Crazy game. But while we're watching the game, around 3 o'clock, he messages me and is like, I'm sorry. And I don't answer him back, but I see it pop up on my phone. Me and my boyfriend are just trying to chill. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be stressed out about that no more, because honestly, it's a stressful situation when a crazy man is texting you and calling you and saying he loves you and everything. Yeah, he literally said he loved me. I didn't put that in there. Like, when we were on the phone, literally said he loved me, and I was like, that's crazy. But I don't answer it. And then 30 minutes later, he texts again, and it's like, okay, I know. Like, probably because he saw that I, like, didn't answer, and it's like, you know, tweak it or something. He's like, okay, I know. And then he texts again and says, I love you. My boyfriend sitting next to me is pissed, super mad. He's like, let me have this dude's number, let me, and I'm like, no, let my manager handle it. Like, this is crazy. You don't need to be doing nothing. I'm not giving you this guy's information. We're not doing all that. And, we go on with our day. We go on with the game. We go home. I obviously post on things, and I guess he knew, or it popped up as like a suggested person or something, because he had my phone number because we had a text for work. And he followed me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, literally every social media you can think of. He tried to follow me and message me on each one of them. He commented on a couple of my TikToks, and obviously I've been blocked and everything. And it's just crazy because it's like, it's giving stalking at this point. And then I am off for a day. I send my manager the screenshots. She tells me he is not getting hired. They're not going forward with his stuff. He dropped off his keys. Like, we are to have no contact. She also got him, like, trespass from the property. So, like, she did her thing. So if he shows up, we can call the cops. I go to work Tuesday. And as I'm driving and taking the exit, I see him sitting outside, like, next to the exit. And he looks at me, looks at my car, and watches me drive all the way. And I look in my rearview mirror, and I see him stand up and start walking towards my work. And I'm like, wonderful. So he obviously knew what time I got to work because he was there before me every single day. Maintenance shows up earlier than I do. He knows what car I drive. Like, I'm the only person. It's like me and my manager in the office, you know? It's like really nobody else other than the maintenance people. So he knows that I'm there. He knows what time I come in the mornings because the office opens every day at the same time. And so, yeah, he was just watching me. And that day I saw him walk by in front of the property at least 3 times. He wasn't actually on property because I think he knows he was trespassed, but he was walking in front of it quite a few times. And then the next day after that, he was sitting at the park that was like super close to my work, like literally connected by like a walking trail. He was sitting there, and I don't know if he saw my car, but I figured he did because he was there kind of waiting and watching. He was standing outside in a parking lot next to my work when it was dark out after I was leaving, and just like standing there. And I know it was him because like he wears kind of the same things all the time. So literally stalking me at this point. Luckily I went on vacation for a little over a week, and it's about to be Christmas. So I've had plenty of time of not being at work, so maybe he's chilled out, like maybe he hasn't seen me or whatever. But yeah, I'm getting a restraining order because he has tried to make a couple of fake accounts to message me and stuff, and who knows if he has a fake account to see this. If you do, literally fuck off. I am getting a restraining order. If you come near me, I will have you arrested and we can go from there. You know, but it's just creepy. It's creepy. This man's like 50 something and I'm 25, and I know I'm not a child, but God, it's just so weird. And he's like showing up at my work and like trying to message me, and it's fucking weird. My boyfriend knows where he's staying. So like if anything does happen, if he tries to come pick me up or some shit, like my boyfriend knows where he's at so he can pull up. He has this information and knows what he looks like. I don't know, but I'm getting a restraining order. The cops know about it. We've told the cops like everything so far, so it's not like I'm just letting it slide. But yeah, I don't know. I've never had a stalker before. Definitely a different experience. I don't recommend it if some of you weirdos out there thinking that this is fun. Definitely not. But yeah, I'm back home. Gonna restrain the order. And we'll just see. I don't know. I can do an update, and if anything happens, or I don't know, post the screenshots or the fucking. No, I don't even want to post the voice call because it was so crazy. I'm not gonna post the call. It's crazy, and I am embarrassed that I didn't just shut it down instead of being nice and everything, because I'm just too nice, and I don't know. But I'll give updates if updates need to be had. Yeah. So, quick little update on my stalker. I continue to see him around my work and around like the area that my work is in. I've seen him like on the side of the road. I've seen him like sitting like at the one exit that you take to get off the interstate to like, you know, get to the main road where my work is, sitting there multiple times. I've seen him like walking in front of my building, like glancing over in my direction, you know. Granted, it's like pretty far. He can't see into my building or anything, so he can't technically know I'm here. But even though he hasn't tried to be on the property or anything, I'm still terrified. I keep seeing him everywhere. I keep seeing him at like the Target really close to my work because that's where I go to get lunch every day. And I just keep seeing him around, and I just feel so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm being watched all the time. And I think it's at the point where I'm just going to have to find a new job because he knows where I'm at. I don't know if he knows where I live, if I'm going to be so for real. And I'm getting more uncomfortable by the day. I was sick for like 4 days and I took off of work for like 4 days, and then I come back today and I still see him out around my property. That's insane to me. It's been close to over a month. I was dealing with this at the end of December or something like that. So it's been almost a month. And I'm just so uncomfortable. I obviously am going to talk to my work again and be like, hey, what's up? Because, you know, as you know, I'm supposed to get a restraining order. And if you didn't hear the story, I posted the story time on my page, and it's like pinned at the top. But I'm going to be like, hey, what's up? Where's this restraining order? Like, what are we doing? Because I am so stressed out. And I really think I'm just going to have to get a new job because I can't keep looking behind me. I can't keep feeling like I'm being watched all the time. I can't come into work so anxious every single day over some random man that is following me and watching me, you know? So yeah, that's a little update for now. I'll let you know what my work says, I guess. But if any of y'all want to like pay $10,000 to see a toe or something, let me know. Other than that, I'm going to have to find a new job. Something remote probably, because I can't do people like this anymore. I just can't. I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
So this is what happened to me today and my granddaughter. All right. So I picked up my granddaughter early today from daycare. And it was a beautiful day outside. So we walked up and down the block a little bit, and she still wanted to stay outside. And I looked over and was like, hey, perfect opportunity. I can pick up these leaves out of my front yard, right? Just setting the scene for you. And so we're out there picking up the leaves. She's trying. She's only 2. She's very observant 2-year-old that she speaks in complete sentences. So she's very smart and she's very observant. This will come into play. All right, so we're outside enjoying the beautiful day. She's playing in the leaves, Grandma's picking them up. And I notice that there is a city truck pulling up, and he's kind of slow rolling. So I'm assuming that he's looking for an address, okay? Which is fine, whatever. But I'm very observant of what's going on outside when I'm outside with my granddaughter, because what we ain't finna do is any of that. So I'm out there raking up and picking up the leaves. She's out there with me. This truck stops. The reason why I'm saying he slow rolled and he stops and all this kind of stuff is because there ain't no fucking way he didn't see us out there. Okay, she's wearing a bright red shirt that has like the tutu layer on it and red and white leggings. You cannot fucking tell me he did not see us out there. Okay. All right. So I find out that he's there to turn the water on. All right. This is a very common occurrence for my neighbor across the street, that his water gets turned on and off quite often. Okay. Good guy. Just doesn't seem to keep up with his bills very well. The reason why I say that is because I know it does not take very long to turn the water on. Okay? So we're still picking up the leaves and she's still grandma, right? And I look over, I glance over, and this dude's kneeling down on the ground, messing with the water meter, with his whole ass out. I'm not talking a plumber's crack. Whole ass. Butt cheek, crack, all of it. Out. Pointed right at us. Okay? You can't tell me this dude didn't know this because there was a breeze and it was pointed right at the sun. So you're telling me that you didn't feel the sun on your ass and the wind hitting it. It wasn't a light breeze either. It was probably a good 10 mile an hour. Okay? You could feel it. So I glance up, I see that, and I'm like, oh, like, goddamn, dude. I don't say anything because I'm not trying to draw attention to the dude and his ass, okay, with my granddaughter. I'm trying to keep her distracted so she doesn't notice it. The moment I turn and pick up a pile of leaves to put in the trash bin, I hear, Grandma, look, ew. And she's pointing at him. She had moved from with her back to him to over to this side of me on this side of the bin and looked right at him and saw it and pointed and said, ew. So I'm like, yeah, I know. Come over here. And I move her back over to the leaves to try to distract her from it. So his truck would kind of block him, right? Well, of course, she keeps coming over and taking a little peek at what's going on, right? And I keep having to move her over, right? Trying not to make a big deal of it, right? Just, it's okay, Joe, let's do all this over here. Meanwhile, I keep glancing over to see, are you fucking done yet? He was there for a good 5 fucking minutes with his ass up, sun hitting it. I guess he wanted to get some sun on it today. You can't fucking tell me he didn't know what he was doing. Anyway, dude stands up to go talk to the homeowner, and his pants are right here. They're like right on the upper thigh. Sorry, I got a phone call. Right here on his upper thigh. Right here. So if it's on the upper thigh, guess what? Guess what else was probably out? Shirt covers him. He goes up and he talks to the homeowner, who happens to be a big biker dude, right? I had texted the homeowner and said, tell him to pull his damn pants up, right? Well, he didn't have his phone on him when I texted him, so he didn't get it until after. So I'm thinking, dude's done, right? No, he comes back and does it the fuck again for another 2-3 minutes. Ass out, pointed right at us. He couldn't point it towards the house. No, he had to point it towards the road, towards me and my granddaughter. Then has all the audacity to get up, walk around the passenger side of his vehicle, around the back, towards the driver's door, but had to stop and say, oh, I see you got a beautiful helper there. The look of acidic rage that was on my face when I said, yes, she is, and pushed her behind me, you would think I'd caught his ass on fire how quick he got in that truck to drive away. So I call the city. I'm not a complainer. I never complain. I call the city. I mean, Siri. It was like, Siri, call City F. They call, they answer. I tell them. She's like, oh my. So she transferred me to the supervisor who doesn't answer, and I leave a message. That was inappropriate. That was disgusting. Listen, I'm used to seeing asses. I'm a nurse, but not out in the fucking wild and definitely not pointed towards my grandchild. I tell you right now, if I had looked close enough, I probably could have seen the starfish. That's how much of his ass was out. All of it. The only thing that kept me from seeing the balls was the pants. Disgusting. If I'd been out there by myself, I would have made a whole ass scene about it. But I was trying to distract my granddaughter from noticing that's an issue. And that's sad that my 2-year-old granddaughter has already been exposed to a whole man ass. You know, I could pick his ass out in a lineup. I wouldn't be able to pick out his face, but I sure as fuck could pick out his ass. That's how much I saw it. I saw what his ass looked like before I ever saw his face. That's sad. Disgusting. I hope I don't see him out in the wild again, or I'm going to say something to him. Everybody have a good day.
Story time on how me and my boyfriend met and got pregnant at 15 years old. Grab you a drink for this one because, girl, it's actually super funny how me and my boyfriend met. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you guys back, like, way back. Okay? So at this time, he didn't even live in my state. He lived in California or Washington, and he texted me on Instagram and was like, slid up on my story, put heart eyes. I was like, oh, okay, thank you, like, hey, whatever, you know. And after that, like, I completely forgot about him. Like, it was nothing to me after that. It was the beginning of 9th grade, and I went to school a day late because I hadn't been enrolled yet. I think a week into school, I had to ride the bus home one day after school because my mom was working late. Good day at school, everything was normal. I got on the bus, riding the bus, everything was fine, okay? And his stop was a couple stops before mine, so he got off before me. And I look at him, and I'm like, oh, like, a boy, okay, like, whatever, you know, it's a boy. But anyways, after that, I keep riding the bus. I get home like 2 or 3 stops after that. I will have to walk all the freaking way down. I have a long freaking driveway, so I had to walk all the way home. And I get home, it's like 3:30ish maybe. I'm laying in bed, I'm just chilling, like nothing was out of the ordinary, you know, just like any other day. I just rode the bus that day. Anyways, I'm chilling in bed and I get a text from somebody, and I'm like, who is this? And they're like, did you see the fight at school today? And I'm like, no, like I don't even care about school fights. Like, no, I did not see any fight. I promise you, I would probably walk away from them. And I'm like, oh, somebody fought? And he's like, yeah, somebody fought. Do you have the video? I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, I think you ride my bus. And I'm like, oh, okay, who are you? So I go to his account, I look at his freaking little profile pictures, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he does ride my bus. Then after that, we kind of start talking a little bit. We play Roblox together, we stay on the phone. Then after a week of just like flirting or whatever, we start actually talking, and then we start actually dating. 4 months into us dating, I got pregnant. And I'm sure you guys know how I got pregnant, and this may be TMI, okay, but if it's TMI, then it's just not for you, okay? So get away. I got pregnant our first time ever doing anything with each other. Yeah. Yes, that's just my luck, right? That's why my due date was so accurate, because there was no other time I could have got pregnant except for that time. So my due date was on the 21st of August. My baby came on the 20th of August at 10 o'clock. So if he would have waited 2 hours, I would have had him on the 21st. So my due date was like right on point, okay? But yeah, that's how we met. And it's so ironic to think like 2 years ago, I didn't even freaking know this, but like I didn't even care about him, like, and now he means everything to me, and we have a baby that means everything to us. It's just crazy, like how the world, like, oh, it's crazy. Anyways, that's my story time on how we met and how we got pregnant at 15 years old. And our baby is thriving and happy, and I love that for us. So yeah, okay, bye.
Story time about how my ex went from living next to our neighbor to marrying her. So it's maybe July or August of 2023, and we get a new neighbor move in. I hear some buzz around the neighborhood that she has a 3-year-old daughter. My son is 3 at the time, so I'm like, great, I should go introduce ourselves. So being the sweet woman I am, I bake my special snickerdoodle blondies, and I bring them next door. I say, hi, my name is Joanna. This is my son. Welcome to the neighborhood. We end up chit-chatting, and my son and I come in, and we stay for 3 hours while my son and her daughter and son are playing, and she and I are talking. Now, my ex-husband, we'll call him Shane for this story. He had come over with me to introduce ourselves, but he had to go to work, so he didn't stay long. He didn't come in. He left when we were going to go in. Now, this neighbor, we'll call her Bryn, she and I started to become friends. We would do a lot of play dates. Our children are literally like 6 days apart, so I would come over a lot. She had a big playroom, and her son loved like having a little brother, as he would call my son, and so we hung out a lot. We even did like trick-or-treating together. We went to a Halloween event together that wasn't trick-or-treat. We had lunch together. We would be together a lot. We lived right next to each other. We would talk all the time. She's also an accountant, just like me. Now, fast forward to December of that same year, I left Shane, and things had not been right in our relationship for literally the entire time. I had never told my friends or family how our relationship was, but afterwards I started being very vocal. He was extremely emotionally and mentally abusive, manipulator, gaslighter, all that stuff. I could go into a story time about the ways he treated me another time. So after I left him, I started over fresh. I moved to a new apartment. I bought all new furniture. I literally, he got the house, and I just wanted to be gone. I just wanted to start over. We were civil. We still talked a bit. We do have a son together, but, the way he treated me, I will never respect that man, and I will never be friendly with him. Now, Bryn was helping me through this process a bit because we were friends and our children are friends. She even gave me her old desk for my apartment because it matched the color scheme that I was going with. It was white and gold, and everything in my apartment was white and gold. She had texted me one day and she was like, hey, once you get settled in, we should go get brunch together. I was like, great. So I'm getting used to my new apartment. I'm getting used to the area. And I noticed a brunch restaurant. So I text her back. I said, hey, there's this brunch restaurant next, near my apartment. We can go there. No response. Now, I'm a grown adult. I have a life. So I was like, all right, she's busy too. She's a grown adult with a life. So I text her maybe the next week. Still no response. This is probably February of 2024 at this point. Christmas through a little bit after New Year's, Shane and I had been trying to make things work, but I knew in my heart it was never gonna work. So one day I am dropping my son off at Shane's house, and I ask him, I'm like, hey, is there anything going on between you and Bryn? Because she's not responding to me anymore. And he goes, no, why would you think that? Which obviously raises my suspicions anymore, because why are you gonna deny it like that? No, why would you think that? So less than a month later, Shane texts me. He's like, hey, when you bring over our son, I have something I need to talk to you about. Now, I legitimately thought he was going to come out to me. That is also another story time. If you want that one, let me know in the comments. So my son and I have gone to church. Our church is right behind the house that I shared with Shane. So I come around, I'm dropping off our son, and he tells me, hey, so Bryn and I have feelings for each other and we're going to start dating. And I'm like, you literally just denied anything with her a few weeks ago. So this is the end of March. They start dating. He and I stopped communicating as well, because of the way that they went about things. She ghosted me. She was my friend and she ghosted me. And then he tells me and denies anything when I asked him the first time. And I would have responded a lot better had she come to me as a friend and been like, hey, I'm starting to have feelings for Shane. And I would have been like, great, go for it. One of my managers just got here and I was chatting with her, so I forget where I was. But anyway, communication starts falling to the wayside between Shane and I. The little respect I had for him left, gone completely, and now I don't have respect for her either, and now she's in my son's life. So great. I would have much preferred a situation where me as the ex-wife and her as the new girlfriend get along so that we can all co-parent super happily together. And that would have only been possible had she come to me instead of ghosting me and having him come to me. So fast forward again, I think it's about January or February of 25, and Shane tells me that him and my son are going to move into Bryn's house next door. They haven't even been dating a year yet. Shane likes to move fast. Even less than a month after that, I see on social media that they are engaged. So I'm like, doesn't surprise me. Again, Shane likes to move fast. So they get married in September of last year, and prior to that, they bought a house together. I think it was in August. They moved, and they bought a house together. Then they got married. So he likes to do things fast, and I thought he would have learned that from our relationship because it moved fast as well, but clearly he doesn't learn well. But yeah, so he turned her against me. He turned his whole family against me. In the story I'm responding to, I saw my ex-father-in-law at my son's kindergarten musical. He literally wouldn't say one word to me. I walked this close passing him, and he would not say a word like, "Hi, Joanna, how are you?" Like, anything. I am still the mother of your grandchild. So, but that's how it works. Shane is a grade A narcissist. I'm not throwing that word around lightly. During our entire relationship, he tried to tell me that I was a narcissist. I've done a lot of therapy, and I'm like, the therapist was like, sounds like he's the narcissist. You don't sound narcissistic at all. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I've come to realize a lot of things through my therapy. But that's another story about the manipulation and abuse. This story time was about my ex marrying the neighbor, so yay. There was a moment after my marriage ended where I 100% thought my ex-husband was going to come out to me, and it would have made perfect sense. Hi, I'm Joanna, and if you didn't watch the first part of this story, you should do that, or you can watch it after. Doesn't really matter the timeline. So, during my marriage, my ex-husband had expressed to me on numerous occasions that he was curious about being with other men. Great, okay, maybe you're bi, maybe I'm your beard, I don't know, but as far as I know, he didn't do anything with anybody while we were together. Also, this is going to be a much shorter story time than the last one because, there's not really that much to tell, it's just a little bit. So, whenever he would tell me these things, he told me multiple times about his curiosities. It was always when he was drunk, though. He never said it when he was sober, but he would express, upset when he was sober about how he had spoken while he was drunk. He was kind of upset that he had told me that and, divulged that information. It's the 2020s, I don't know. I don't remember what year it was the first time he told me, but it was between 2015 probably and now. And honestly, just be true to yourself, but don't treat people like shit in the meantime. So, besides him, saying that while we were married, after I left him, he told me that when he made a dating app for the first time, made a profile on a dating app, that he opened it up to both men and women. Because, like I said, he was curious. Again, I don't know if that actually went anywhere, if he ever did speak to any men or hook up with them, go on dates. I don't know. This is just what he told me. So these things are why I thought that when he told me he had something really important to talk to me about, I legitimately thought that he was going to come out to me. I thought he was finally coming into his truth, and that I was going to be supportive. I was going to be like, hell yeah, dude. Like, great. I love that for you. Like, it explains so much. But no, that's when he told me he was going to be dating the next door neighbor. So, which is the other story time. What is this hair doing? So, what a life, huh? Maybe one day he'll come out, because I'm pretty sure that she's just another beard. But do you, bro. Do you.
This is a story about how I found out I was accidentally dating or courting my 77-year-old neighbor in my apartment complex. Sorry, wait. Okay, so he was moving in, right? Like, this is probably like 8 or 9 months ago. And I saw him struggling on the steps. He was wobbly. I was like, he's going down. So I like helped him carry up boxes and like all this stuff. Literally. I even went to his storage unit with him like after a month or so to like help him load some stuff into his car. I was like, okay, you know, like, where's your family? Why nobody helping you? Then, like, in the summer, he was, like, leaving cherries on my door that he would buy at the store, like, every 2 weeks. He would, like, leave some cherries and a note. And, like, we had these little back and forths where we, like, showed up as neighbors. He gave me snacks, things like that, because I helped him out. Then came Thanksgiving, and my mom was like, well, does this person have a place to go for Thanksgiving? And I was like, I don't know, honestly. And she's like, well, you could invite him to our Thanksgiving, which my mom does every year. Like, I invited another friend. Anyone who doesn't have a place to go, my mom invites for Thanksgiving. So I like asked him, and he was like so grateful. He's like, oh my gosh, like, that's so sweet. Yes. I was like, my mom wants to invite you. Fast forward. After Thanksgiving, that night we're going in, I hug him, I say happy Thanksgiving. I'm feeling like grandpa, granddaughter vibes. And he's like, wait, I need to give you a kiss on the cheek. So he comes over, he kisses me on the cheek 3 times. It was like, it got more and more like, and I was like, okay. He would call me like sometimes multiple times in a day, sometimes back to back. And I was like, okay, I need to have more boundaries. Like, I'm too kind. I need a little more boundaries. I need to take care of myself. So I was a little more distant for like a week and a half. I saw him in the hallway. He gave me a Christmas card. I gave him a Hanukkah card. And when I was giving him the card, he was like, I've just been confused lately about like where we stand. And I was like, oh, do you feel like there was some conflict? I was like, maybe he's felt my distance. He's like, no. And he referenced, he's like, I know you were with a woman before, and I don't know if you go both ways. And I leave my body at this point. I'm like up here, and I hear myself say like, yeah, I've been with both. I'm like, why am I talking about this with my 77-year-old neighbor in the hallway? Kins. And then I'm like, but like, I just view you as a friend. I reference our other neighbors. I say I view him the same way as them. And he just smiles at me and like looks at me and says he still wants to take me to dinner to this nice restaurant. And I'm like, okay, I'll have to get back to you. My like placating, like triggered self, I was like up here. Up here was like, girl, shut up. No, absolutely not. But I'm like, yeah, let me get back to you. So I procrastinate for 2 weeks. I push him off for 2 weeks because I just can't. And then I decide I need to have a phone call. He gets upset with me. I'm like, okay, let's clarify some things. I'm like, I just wasn't sure if you were romantically interested in me. And he's like, yes, I am. And I'm like, you're 77. I'm 29 years old. And he's with it enough before y'all say, oh, he's just an old man who like, stop. Because I gave him all that credit, but he's too slick. And he's like, well, friends can get dinner. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I just want to clarify, I don't view that way. He's like, okay, I hear you. He's like, well, I felt like you gave me mixed messages. And I was like, me? And he's like, when you invited me to meet your parents for Thanksgiving. Bro, that's not what happened. My mom invited you. So he really thinks he met the parents. Mind you, his daughter is 10 years older than me, and my parents are 10 years younger than him. Men, I'm sorry, but like, I'm going to not say anything. Fill in the blank. Come on. So basically, I had to break up with my 77-year-old neighbor without even knowing we were dating to begin with. He really thought we were an item, and he was confused. Like, why does this happen to me? I need to move out ASAP. He gave me a Valentine's gift. It was a car sweeper for the snow. I don't know. I just needed to tell someone.
My dad died, and I just kicked my 13-year-old sister out of the house. And I know right off the bat you guys are already judging, like, who would kick a 13-year-old out? But let me tell you the story of my little sister. Our dad died 2 years ago, and when he passed away, things really started to go downhill for her. He was kind of the only caring parent of the two, and since he was gone, her mom completely just checked out. It came to light that there was quite a bit of abuse happening in her home, and she was not getting the proper care she needed and was actually getting some horrible things done and said to her. So naturally, as her older sister, and because I had an obligation, I felt like, to my father to care for her, I got her out of that situation, contacted the people I needed to, and moved her into my home. That lasted 2 days before she was back in her mom's house on her own choice. Basically, when she was here the first weekend, she asked to go to her friends, and the alarms were immediately going off, like, don't let her go, it's the first weekend here, she needs to just stay. But I also didn't want to come across as super, like, parenting. I wanted her to know, hey, I'm your sister too, and we're cool. That was dumb. Because the friend's house was actually next door to a boy who she was talking to, and later that night she decided she was going to sleep at his house at 12. I called the cops came and got her, cops told me come get her, and she was livid. She had some very adult words for me, and I had never heard my sister talk or act like that ever. She said, I want to go back to my mom's. I don't want to be here. I said, well, what about, this, and this that you said is happening to you? What about all this abuse that you say is going on? Why would you want to go back there? Well, she wanted to go back because it wasn't true. Everything she told me was something she used as a way to say, hey, my mom's not good and my mom's not going to let me come live with you. So here's all these things that you should tell people she's doing so that I could come live with you anyways. And I believed her because she is my sister and she was a kid, and how can you not believe a kid when they're saying those types of things? So now I look like a liar to all these important people and everybody who cares about children and wants to help, because I told them, hey, here's everything that's happening in the home. And the first night she got in trouble with the police with me, she told them, none of that's happening. I want to go home. She apologized for it. We got past it. Things were okay. She was a kid. Mistakes happen. It was kind of a pretty big mistake, but I wasn't going to hold a grudge because she was my little sister. Well, since then, she's been caught 6 hours away in a stolen vehicle with older boys. She is now dating another older boy who is fresh out of jail. She showed up at my house in a black lace crop top with handprints all over her chest, and I finally just snapped. I finally said, hey, you're not the best person to be in my life right now. I can't continue cleaning up these messes for you, and I can't be putting myself in a position to be a part of the life that you're wanting to live. And it was extremely hard, and it still is, because she's 13 and she's a child. But what else can you do? What else? Like, where do I go from here? My dad died, and I had to kick my 13-year-old sister out, which ultimately upset a lot of you. But I really need to clarify some things. First, I do not have legal custody of her any longer. Once she's kind of lied about the things that were happening, I just no longer had her. She went back to her mom, and then that's kind of when things just started to really take a turn for the worse. That's when the official school dropping out happened. That's also when I got a phone call from her randomly letting me know, hey, can you come get me? I'm in. It turns out that she got caught, hours away in this different town with an older boy in a stolen vehicle. And she called me because she wanted me to come get her. So ultimately,
I left her there. And I already know saying that is just another controversial thing, but in that moment, it really felt like the right thing to do was to just let her sit with her thoughts and her actions and really have some remorse for where her life is heading. And going and getting her just felt like another mission of cleaning up a mess she had made and not allowing her to really fully take any consequences for those.
Having a mom who is your biggest hater is not for the weak. So I recently moved back in with my parents in October because of financial struggles, and I lost my job. And since living with them, I've been applying to jobs like every single day. I've been applying to like 40 plus jobs a day. It doesn't matter the job anymore. Like, I've been getting pretty desperate. I've been unemployed since October. And I've been waking up to like 6 or 7 rejection letters every morning. So it's been really depressing. I've been really depressed. Mind you, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in psychology. And the jobs I've been applying for vary from master's level to entry level, but I'm still getting denied, and I'm not sure why. But that's not the point of what I want to talk about. So to pass time and to keep my sanity, I've been learning how to crochet. And I've been posting about it because, you know, why not? It's something that I enjoy doing. I've been really enjoying learning how to crochet. I've been enjoying, you know, sharing my work. And I made separate accounts for my crochet videos on Instagram and on TikTok. And the accounts basically got to my family. Of course, you know, it's the internet. I knew it would eventually, just not so soon, especially since it doesn't have that many followers. But anyway, my family calls my mom, and they didn't say anything bad about my crochet videos or like what I'm crocheting. Most of them were just like requesting stuff, as people do whenever you're doing crafts. But they were telling my mom like, oh, that's pretty cool that she's doing stuff like that. Mind you, growing up, my sister and I were not allowed to have hobbies. If we had any hobbies, we'd get made fun of for it. And we would have to stop those hobbies because doing hobbies is a waste of time. You know, sports, crafts, arts, anything like that is a waste of time in my parents' eyes. So lately my mom has been making fun of me for the crocheting and all that stuff, but I've been like letting it slide, just shutting up, because at the end of the day I'm under the roof right now. I can't do anything about it. But today was really bad. So she comes into my room. I'm in the process of crocheting for a couple of hours before I head to the gym. And she was on the phone with my grandma, and my grandma were just like making fun of me, you know, oh, like Dana's crocheting, like she's so old to be doing little stupid hobbies like that. Like, what is she making? She's making like little bears and all that stuff. So she comes into my room. I'm in the process of crocheting this dragon right now for my little cousin because it's her birthday and her mom had requested me to make something for her, and I was like, sure, I'm practicing anyway, I don't mind, I have nothing else better to fucking do. So I'm in the process of sewing on like the tail or something like that, and she was like, oh, you're done with that already? Like, you're so broke, unemployed, lazy, like this is all you do? Are you addicted to crocheting or something? And I was just like, I've been working on it for a couple of days, you know, like it's something to keep me from losing my fucking mind, because I know I'm broke and I know I have nothing going for me right now, and I'm trying to stay afloat. Because other than crocheting, I have nothing else better to do than walking my dogs, and that's like for, you know, an hour if anything, and then going to the gym, which is an hour to 2 hours. So the rest of the day, what else can I freaking do? You know, like I've tried doing DoorDash out here, DoorDash and Uber Eats, and I can't make a freaking dollar. Like, everyone's struggling right now. It's like so hard to make anything. And then I've been trying to sell things on Facebook Marketplace to make some money, and I haven't been able to sell anything either. I'm like, I'm trying, you know. But anyway, so then she proceeds to talk shit about me to my grandma on the phone, and then they proceed to say like, oh, like when are you gonna make me a blanket? And I have this star blanket in my room that's for my friend. It's just been sitting there. I'm waiting to give it to her because I haven't seen her yet. And my mom goes, oh, why don't you give this one to your grandma? And I was like, that's not for her, like I made that for my friend. She's like, why are you making that for your friend? She doesn't need stuff from you and all that stuff. And I was like, well, because she bought me the yarn, so I figured like let me make something for her out of this yarn that she gave me. And I was like, you guys are just in the process of making fun of me for crocheting, like now all of a sudden you want a blanket. And then she goes, well, which one's mine? Where's my blanket? Like, I've been waiting for you to make me a blanket for months. And I was like, I haven't made you one because you've been making fun of me for even crocheting in the first place. Why would I make you anything? And then I'm in the process of crocheting a blanket for for my boyfriend's mom. And she was like, why would you make one for your boyfriend's mom before me? And all that stuff. And I was just like, I was gonna make you something, but every single time I think to begin to make you anything, it makes me sad, because then I think about everything you've been talking about me, talking about how I'm just this like lazy bum that is nowhere in life right now. And that's been going on since October. Like, her and my dad, they like snicker together and talk about like, oh, like you're only doing this because you're unemployed and all that stuff. And I was just like, I actually really enjoy crocheting. I feel like I'm decent at it. Like I said before, growing up I was not allowed to have any hobbies, so now I find this hobby at my ripe age of 28. And yes, it can be a little embarrassing to post about it and all that stuff, but I was just like, you know what, why not? I don't know, dude, it's just so freaking depressing. Like, think about it in my sister's perspective as well. Like, both of us, we have no hobbies. I'm 28, she's 24. It's really difficult for us to like anything and openly enjoy anything without being embarrassed, because we were trained to be embarrassed about everything. So like, me even posting videos about my crochet like was, in my eyes, you know, like a big step, because I knew the backlash that I could have gotten, which it did happen. You know, I did get that backlash from my mom and dad and some of my family members. I don't know, at this point I'm just fucking rambling. I don't know. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, if you want to check out my crochet page, go ahead, it's in my bio.
Story time on how I found out that the girl who my boyfriend cheated on me with, who knew about me, tried to do the same thing to one of my best friends. Again, just to start this off, I'm not making this video to send anybody hate, it's just, this is just crazy, like actually crazy. And also, I'm obviously telling the story with my friend's consent. And yeah, first off, if you haven't seen my story time on what I went through with my ex and this person, I suggest you go and watch that, because I go into a lot more details and obviously the whole story of what happened. To sum it up, this girl slept with my boyfriend behind my back. Obviously she knew who I was, we worked together, and then she made my life like a living hell. After I found out, she would send me pictures of her and my ex together while they were sleeping together behind my back. She was calling me names, just treating me completely ridiculous, as if I was the one who did that to her, when it was the other way around. Like, the way we all knew each other was from work, because we all worked together, including the guy my friend was with. My friend and the guy had been working there for quite a while before I got hired, and then eventually the other girl got hired there. They had already been together for a long time before me and this other person got hired to work there, so literally everybody knew that they were together. Like, it wasn't secret, and they were literally raising 2 children together. Everybody knew and respected their relationship and everything like that. And like, everybody at work considered them like to be married almost, because they were raising 2 kids together. They had been together for a long time. And he was also one of the managers where we worked, so he was just well respected, and their relationship seemed to be well respected by everybody else. So then eventually I get hired, I meet them, I obviously become pretty close to them, she becomes one of my best friends, and then this girl gets hired. Then around the time that I start seeing the guy that eventually comes to cheat on me with her is going on, like, not to like the extent, but like just the very beginning when I'm first seeing him, this girl would say a bunch of weird stuff. Every time that my friend's baby dad would come into work whenever we were working together, he would just come in and say hi to everybody, literally to everybody, not just her specifically. She would then turn around to like her friends and say stuff like, oh, I think things with me and the guy are going really good, as in my friend's baby dad. I feel like things between us are going really good, just because he was being nice to her. But it wasn't just her, it was literally everybody who worked there that he would be nice to. He would obviously be nice to everybody in front of my friend, because that's literally his job, but she would only say stuff like that whenever my friend wasn't around. Even when she was being rude to me and like didn't like me for whatever reason, she would still try to be overly nice to my friend, even though she knew that we were like best friends. She would still try to be like overly nice to her. It was really weird, and I'm pretty sure it was because she was scared of her and like felt threatened by her, because my friend is more threatening or like aggressive than I am. And then around the time that when I was like first starting to talk to the guy who I eventually come to date, like barely talking, It was so weird. One day he texted me and he was like, hey, the girl is asking if you know why this guy, my friend's baby dad, won't accept her follow requests on social media or whatever. And I was like, I don't know, because, I don't know, he's a manager and she doesn't need to have him outside of work. Like, that's weird. It's weird that they would even ask that, or like why she cares. But then in front of my friend, she would try to be like overly nice and like try to talk to her all the time. And just, this is a friend who's there when we go and do a pull up when she's with my boyfriend in her car, and my friend's there and like confronts her and everything like that. Obviously this girl knows who my friend is. So yeah, like I said in my other video, she ends up moving to a completely different state after everything goes down with the guy that I was seeing. We try to forget about the whole situation, and then the whole thing happens again. The guy that I was seeing, where he was started talking to her again after I found out everything the first time. When I'm confronting her, she says that whole thing about my friend, that she should focus on her kids instead of her. And then my friend texts her, and as soon as my friend texts her, she doesn't even respond. She just goes straight to blocking us because she immediately blocked both of us. That's that. Like, we move on from the situation. I heal from what happened to me, blah blah blah. I finally moved on, healed from it. My friend has moved on from the situation. And fast forward to this year. It's already been a year since I found out the second time that my ex and her were talking behind my back when she literally lived in a completely different state. This literally happened in this September. Now, like, I don't work at that old workplace. She doesn't work there. My friend doesn't work there. Her baby dad doesn't work there. Like, nobody even works there anymore. Like, he's not a manager there or nothing. And I'm at school, and my friend sends me a bunch of screenshots, and I immediately go into it, and it's just a bunch of gross text between her baby dad and somebody. I didn't know who it was at first, and I was like, whoa, like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, who is that? And she's like, it's so-and-so. What? Like, what? Like, I was literally in shock. Like, I blurred out what was going on at school. I was like, what? Like, how? Like, what? Like, I didn't really, truly, like, did not expect that at all. Yeah, and we confirm it's her because the messages were on an app called WhatsApp. You can zoom in, and it's literally her in the profile picture. It's her phone number. The messages were from over the springtime of last year, but she didn't find it until September because for whatever reason they didn't delete it. It was just a bunch of gross messages. Like, so weird that she was even texting him when she has really his girlfriend blocked because she's too scared to talk to her. My friend was obviously in shock when she found all this, so she just took a bunch of random pictures of everything and then like left because she was like obviously in shock by what she was seeing. Her telling him that she would have slept with him when they were working together if she felt like he was interested in her. Him saying the same thing. Just a bunch of gross, messed up stuff. Like, she's like literally admitting that she would have slept with him even though she knew that he had a whole ass family. Am I wrong with you? From a completely different state, they're saying this stuff. And she was like, you should follow me on Instagram so you can see what I post. And he was like, oh, I can't because if my girl sees that, she'll remove you. And she was like, ha ha ha, like I know that would happen, ha ha ha, like that's like what, like what's funny about that? He was like telling her how she should come back to the state that we live in to visit him. She said something like, oh, I can't come back to this state because if I do, I'll get my ass beat. Like, what? Like, you're literally admitting to what you're doing and what you've done is wrong, and like you're proud of it for some reason. Like, what? I mean, I want to beat her up because I have a lot going for me and I have a good future. Not saying that my friend doesn't, but not worth our time. But it's just weird that she would even admit to that. Last screenshot or message that she took a picture of was the girl literally saying, oh, make sure that my friend doesn't see what you're saying to me, make sure she doesn't read our messages, blah blah blah. Like, so gross. And he's like, oh, don't worry, she won't. It's like, she will, because she's not fucking dumbass. It might have taken us a while, but you got caught again. And it's so weird that this girl purposely left my friend's baby dad unblocked just that way she could message him while having both me and my friend blocked. And to this day, she still has him, my ex, all the boys unblocked, but of course the girls are blocked because she loves male attention. My friend doesn't really know how long the messages were going on because she was in shock and she just wanted to get out of the phone as soon as possible. But it's just gross that somebody is okay with doing that. It just broke my heart knowing that she now had to deal with the same exact thing that I had to deal with. I think it would be a completely different thing if, like, obviously cheating no matter what is bad, but I think it would be a completely different thing if it was with literally anybody else, but it just happened to be with the same girl who did that shit to me. So yeah, and he was literally there when I went to my friend's house with messages of this girl and my ex together, and they were translating it for me, and they were both saying, oh, how weird and gross she is and he is. Crazy that he knew how much it would hurt from seeing it from me and still continued to do it. Again, she doesn't really know how long the messages were going on for. She does know that the girl towards the end eventually just stopped replying to her baby dad's messages, which is still gross and bad that she would even do that. It's just so gross that this girl continued to use sexual things to help men cheat on their girlfriends, and obviously the men are to blame too, obviously. Like, they were together for a while and he still decided to throw that away for something sexual from a completely different state. Like, it was just so nasty, so disgusting. So yeah, that's just crazy that she did that to me and then did nearly the same exact thing to one of my best friends.
Hey y'all, what the hell is up? Welcome back. Get ready with me for bed while I tell you this story about how me and my best friend got jumped at a party. So if you saw my last video of me talking about my ex-boyfriend, this story is basically what happened after the fact. So after I got ditched on prom night, like I was talking about in the last video, this is what happened like directly after, like the same exact night. Okay, so boom, flashback to my sophomore year of high school. I had just gotten broken up with like the guy that I thought was like the love of my life. Like I thought I was gonna marry this dude, like, you know, whatever. I thought I had this whole idea that we were gonna move to Florida together and we were gonna be in love forever and blah blah blah. All the shit basically that he had fed me. Because this guy was crazy. He was manipulative, he was controlling, he was everything. He was just a bad boyfriend, and he put a bunch of false ideas in my head that we were going to be together forever and that we were going to live together in Florida and that we were going to be happily ever after, which is so not true. But anyway, he had just broken up with me in like the worst way possible. He had ditched me on prom night. We broke up, and basically I decided to do what I always did after we broke up. This was a repeating thing. Every single time we would break up, I would go out and I would get super duper fucking drunk and whatever else. So this night I was like, this was the first time that we had broken up, mind you. First time we had broken up, and I was just so heartbroken. I called up all my party friends and I was like, y'all, we need to find something to do right now. So I ended up sliding to this party with my best friend, about like 30 minutes away or so, and it was like a school party, like a party that everyone at your school shows up to, you know? Like that one kid at your school that throws all the parties and like everyone from school shows up and like, you know, that type shit. So anyway, I pull up to the party. As soon as I get there, I just start laying back fucking bottles. Like I am pounding back shot after shot. Like I'm just going like hardcore. No mixed drinks, no nothing, just pure straight fucking liquor. So I'm pounding back shot after shot after shot, and I end up getting blackout drunk. I really don't remember anything from then. The only thing that I do remember is drowning in a fucking hot tub in front of my entire school. So literally half of my school is there, and I get in the hot tub. It's super duper duper hot. Obviously, you're not supposed to get in a hot tub while you're drunk. And I get in the hot tub, I'm with my friends, and I start passing out. I don't remember anything after this. My friends basically told me that they had to pull me out of the hot tub, lay me down on the ground, and wait for me to wake up because I literally had passed out and started drowning in the water. So anyway, my mom came and picked me and my best friend up like a couple minutes later. We ended up leaving the party, going home, but we weren't done there, no, because we can't stop at one party. We just had to go to two, so, because we were drunk and high, and obviously, you know, that sounded like an amazing fucking idea in our heads. So anyway, we call up our neighbor, my neighbor, who would always drive us to these parties, and we're like, yo, you got any functions tonight, da-da-da, and they were like, actually, we do, y'all should come with us. So we're like, okay, let's go to another function, it's only midnight, like, we got this. So we decide that, you know, instead of like asking my mom or anything like that, which she probably would have said no anyway, we decide to sneak out, but not only sneak out, but jump off of my second story porch. Instead of using my brother's window to climb out, we jumped off the second story porch because our logic was, okay, we'll just use the window to get back in instead of getting out because it's a better idea to jump off the porch, I guess. So we decided to go up to the second story porch and jump off. As soon as, well, I tried to like slide down the poles and that kind of failed. Like I fell like halfway, but I was fine. And then I'm sitting there, I had dropped my phone in the bushes because like down from my porch is just a bunch of bushes. And so I dropped my phone in the bushes while I'm looking for it. All of a sudden, at the fucking corner of my eye, I see my best friend just hit the fucking ground. I start laughing my ass off because, like, what the fuck else am I gonna do? Like, I just start laughing. I hold her. I'm like, are you okay? Like, girl, are you fucking good? And she's like, oh, I had. And I'm like, oh, we gotta get the hell out of here. Like, I'm sure my parents just heard your ass thump on the ground. Like, we gotta go. So we end up getting up, running. We realize that our shoes are up on the porch because this stupid bitch forgot to grab our shoes before she jumped down. So we're running, we have no shoes on. I'm literally in a shirt and some booty shorts. She's in like a tank top and some booty shorts. We have no shoes, we literally have nothing. I ended up leaving my phone in the bushes because I could not find it. So I literally am going to this party with absolutely nothing. So we run across the street, we go to my neighbor's house, we get in the car. As soon as we get in the car and we start driving, I realize that he's drunk and high. So I'm driving with this guy that's drunk and high, and he's fucking swerving all over the road. Thank God that there was suspiciously no one on the highway, like there was literally nobody. And I'm just like sulking the entire ride. Like I'm literally, we have a bottle in the car and I'm taking more shots. Like I'm just going all the way. I'm doing the fucking most at this point. And I'm sitting there sulking in my sadness and my despair. And I'm looking out the window. And this car that we were driving, the dude's car, had a spare tire on the front right side. So we're coming up on the road. And I remember that he had a spare tire. I see this massive pothole come up right on the right side, and I'm like, he's gonna fucking hit this pothole. He's gonna hit this pothole. And you know what he does? He hits the fucking pothole and the tire bursts while we're 5 minutes away from the party. Okay, y'all, this video was 5 minutes. I'm trying not to make my videos this long anymore, so come back for part 2 to see what happened at the fucking party, because that's the most insane part.
Okay, so I want to tell you guys of a story time when I went on a Hinge date with this guy. I still think about it till this day. It just was such a disaster from beginning to end, and I want to talk about it with you guys. So his pics are really cute. He's all muscular. He looks, from the pics, pretty good. He's flexing how he knows like 15 different languages. Oh my god, I hope he doesn't see this. No, we're fine. It's safe, whatever. Anyways, so we meet up and he tells me, hey, he doesn't have a car, so he like Ubered there. He's like, hey, I'm sitting over in the corner of this like bar we met up at, and I'm wearing, I have a panda bag. I'm thinking, what is a panda bag? Is it like some bag that guys have, like the ones they wear of like across, like, I don't know, what is a panda bag? I go into the bar and I see a guy and he has a panda bag. It's a cartoony, furry, cutesy panda bag. I just know I didn't read this guy wrong. I just was like, okay, maybe it's ironic. Like maybe he's trying to be funny and it's like that's his personality. Or what is this? Anyways, whatever. We start talking immediately. High-pitched voice. Panda bag and a high-pitched voice. I'm already panicking. I'm like, okay, don't be shallow. Like, we hit it off when we were texting. We were excited to see each other. Let me just go through with this. He starts telling me, oh, wow, like, you're really pretty in person. I was not expecting you to look like your pics. First of all, I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm just like, dude, I'm not vibing right now. I don't like this. But, you know, then the drinks start kicking in and, like, I start getting to know him more. And I'm, like, trying to look past all of those things already. And he was, like, so spazzy. Like, his movements were really quick. And he was just spazzy. Like, it was just not attractive. And I was just going with it. I'm like, okay. All right, I have to do a part 2. Okay, this is my part 2 on my crazy Hinge date with this guy. So for whatever reason, I continue to go on this date with him because I'm already out and this was my plan for the night, doing it for the plot. I'm like, what does this night have in store? It's mildly entertaining, a little annoying. It's not the end of the world. I'm like, let me just keep going. He's nice, but just not my vibe. So he suggests we go to a different bar, a bar that's like way more fun. He knows a lot of like the people there and he goes there a lot. There's like karaoke, loungy. I'm like, okay, sure, it's down the street, let's go. He calls an Uber. We get into the Uber and he starts asking him, oh, what language do you speak? I bet you I can speak it. Starts speaking whatever language it is. They're having a full-blown conversation. I think it was like Chinese. And the guy's like, oh, wow, you're really good. The whole time they're doing this, okay? I'm just sitting there like awkwardly, like, cool. I thought, okay, he's trying to like show off that he knows a different language. He's peacocking. Very cool. Let's just cut to the chase. We go to the next bar. We're sitting there. He orders us drinks. We go to sit down. The lady comes back and finds us from the bar and she's like, hey, you guys didn't pay. Oh my God, so embarrassing. I'm like, oh, you didn't pay? Looking at him like, you didn't pay? Because I wasn't aware of the whole thing. He's like directing me to go sit, and so we go sit. Anyways, so we're having a good time now. We're talking. He starts going into like talking about how he's 35, right? And he starts telling me like, oh, like, just asking me questions on, this is the first date, okay? He's asking me questions about like, whose house are we gonna end up at, or whose place we're gonna end up at, and like, he lives with his parents right now, but if he got an apartment like this week, would I come over? I'm like, if you got an apartment this week, would I come over? You're gonna get an apartment because you want to have me over, or you want to get an apartment because you want the apartment. Like, don't base it around me coming over. Like, if you want an apartment, get your own apartment. But like, why would you say that? Already I'm thinking, okay, guy is super weird. Yeah, he's like love bombing me and like just being crazy. I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here. We call another Uber. I tell him I have to go to work after this. This is a total lie because it is 8:30 p.m. and where am I going? I don't know. I'm going to work. We're waiting for this Uber. We forget to pay again. He's guiding me to go outside for this Uber, right? But then we're getting chased out again by the bartender, and she's like over his shit. I feel like she doesn't even know who he is, and he's acting like he knows everybody. Oh my gosh. I'm so embarrassed because people are looking at us, and he's signing the stuff. He goes in to pay, and then there's a car that's parked outside of the bar that rolls down their window, and they're like, hello, a woman. It's our Uber that we're late for, and everyone's looking around like, who is this crazy lady? It's now the Uber's crazy. Now I have to do a part 3 because it's crazy. This is part 3 to my crazy Hinge date. So he pays, the Uber is outside being crazy. She's pissed. She's like, are you guys coming? Where, like, are you guys, like, who am I calling for? And saying his name, basically. And because of the the app of who's she's coming to pick up. And I'm like, yeah, that's us. Sorry, I'm so sorry. And I want her to know that I'm, like, not cool with him right now. Like, I'm really annoyed. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And she doesn't give a fuck. She's like, okay, like, come on, I have to go. Like, are you guys coming? She's not having it. And we jump in the car. Guess what? He wants to ask her, can I speak your language? He goes, hey, so like, what are you? And she's like, why do you care? She's being a huge bitch. I'm like, oh God, I knew it. He's gonna try to talk her language. He's like, yeah, like, what are you? Like, where are you from? And she goes, I'm Mongolian. And he goes, I don't know that one. And that's like the awkwardest thing to say to someone after asking where they're from. I don't know that one. What are you talking about? And she's like looking at him like, okay, like she's being a huge bitch. And I'm like, he's just gonna try to speak your language. And he's like so upset he doesn't know that one. He's like beating himself up in the car. Turns to me, starts talking to me about if I'm gonna delete my Bumble. I met him on Hinge. I was like, are you on Bumble too? He's like, well, yeah, I'm on all of them. I'm like, why are you on all of them? Why'd you tell me that? Like, I was just like, oh, okay. He's like, well, I wanted to know so I could go home and delete it after this. I'm like, don't do that. You're going to need a lot more girls to love you after this date. I'm not the one. I'm not doing this with you. I was like, and by the way, we're just Ubering back to like where we met up at so I can get my car. And at this point, I'm like, I have to go to work. I'm so late. I'm so late for work. And he drops me off. He's wearing my cardigan. It's around his waist. I forget that. And it's my favorite cardigan. And I'm never seeing him again. So I'm never seeing this cardigan again. But basically, we just said bye. We said bye at the car, and I'm like, I'm gonna be late, I have to go, like, I'm definitely gonna text you. And he's like, do you think like we had a good time, like would you want to see me again? And I'm like, absolutely, yes. I was so like messed up from that date. I immediately called my situationship, and we like met up at Walmart and like walked around for 2 hours. And I was like, I'll be honest, I just went on the worst date ever. And we just like laughed about it, and yeah, that was it.
Good morning, Huns. Get ready with me while I tell you the story about how I got ditched on prom night. Alright, guys. Good morning. How have you been? I miss you so much. I haven't been posting. I've had a lot going on right now in my life. I've just had some really, really difficult times recently, and so I'm sorry that I haven't been posting. But I'm back, so hello. Alright, let's get the fuck into it. So, flashback to my sophomore year of high school. I was dating this guy who was a senior, and he was just like this total fucking douchebag. I have a million stories about this dude. I dated him for a year and a half. On and off for a year and a half, though, mind you. This was the first time we broke up. We broke up 3 separate times. So this was the first time we broke up. We had met originally in January or December, I think. And then we had partied together, like, multiple times. We used to party together, and we used to go to parties together and have the same ride and whatever. So one thing led to another, and we ended up dating. Well, this was May 17th. It was the night of prom, and I had sent, like, a couple weeks before, I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks before, I had sent in my guest form ticket, right? So I sent in my guest form for my guest ticket, and you know, I thought everything was fine. So I bought my dress, I did my hair, I got my hair done, I got my nails done, I did everything. I made a reservation for dinner before prom and everything. So whatever, we're preparing for prom. I'm like, I assumed that he had bought a ticket because, like, he had been talking about prom this and prom that and prom this and prom that. So I was like, okay, like, he has a ticket, you know, I'm gonna get my ticket, it's gonna be fine. Bitch, you're so wrong. So anyway, about 3 days before prom, and I'm like, okay, I have not gotten my guest ticket in my email, so, like, what the fuck's going on? So I emailed the lady, and I'm like, hey, like, you know, I haven't gotten my guest ticket, like, did I get, like, were they sold out, or, like, what's the issue? She emails me back, and she says, we're gonna call him Fred. Fred never bought a prom ticket. So I absolutely flipped my motherfucking shit on this bitch. Like, I'm gonna try not to curse as much in this video because literally, like, my videos keep getting taken down for it. But I literally flipped my freaking shit on this bitch. Like, I was so angry. I called him and I was like, it was like 3 days before prom. I was like, dude, like, why would you not buy a ticket? And he was like, oh, well, I was going to, but I get out at 11, and they were selling them at 11:30, and I just didn't want to stay 30 extra minutes. You could not stay 30 extra minutes to get a prom ticket? Please enlighten me on how that makes sense. Like, I'm still angry about it to this day, and it's been a whole year. Because it absolutely buffoons me how you could be so stupid to just, like, and lazy to not want to wait 30 minutes to get a prom ticket so that your girlfriend, who has done everything to prepare for prom, could go with you. But no, of course that wasn't the case. So he says, okay, just keep I'm really, really sorry, blah, 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 blah. He apologizes, all this crazy stuff. And he's like, keep the dinner reservations. Like, cause I had gotten dinner reservations to this, like, pretty nice place. And he was like, keep the dinner reservations. Like, I'll take you out to dinner, like, to make up for it. Like, you can still wear whatever you want, like, wear something fancy, like, whatever. Just basically saying we're gonna go out to a fancy dinner so I can make up for all this. So, whatever. Prom rolls around. The day of prom, what was supposed to be prom, rolls around. And it just so happens to fall on the same day as his older brother's 21st birthday. So he asked me, he's like, hey, I think I'm gonna go out on the boat with my brother and my dad and my brother's girlfriend. Like, we're all gonna go out. We're gonna drink a little bit, like, whatever. They were gonna go fishing and stuff. Like, I live close to the water, so, like, everyone around me is very big on fishing, and his family was extremely big on fishing, so obviously this is what Ben wanted to do for his birthday. And so, whatever, he goes out. I'm like, please, I beg him. I literally beg him. I'm like, please just be responsible with your drinking. Like, I really don't want to have to, I really would like to go out to dinner tonight, is basically what I was saying. Please don't get too drunk. So he promises me he's not going to get too drunk, and I'm like, okay. So I let him have his day. I'm like, okay, yeah, of course. Like, his brother was, like, his closest friend. Like, that was, like, his life. Like, his brother was basically his life. So, of course, I let him have his day with his brother. Like, I'm not going to, whatever. So I let him have his day. I do my thing all day. I don't text him. I don't call him. I just let him go out on the boat and do his thing. Well, 4 o'clock rolls around. Our dinner reservation is at 6. I'm like, okay, we have 2 hours. I start getting ready, and I'm like, okay, he still hasn't texted me. I see his location is at his brother's house now. So I'm like, all right, what's going on? So I call him up. I'm like, hey, babe, you know, whatever. Like, what's going on? Where are you? Like, were you ready for dinner? This bitch goes, oh, I'm too drunk to come and pick you up. You're what? I yelled at that man so fucking hard. I screamed at him so hard, he probably almost flew in next week. Like, I swear. I bursted his eardrums with the way that I went off on him. And he 110% deserved it, because you literally promised me that you weren't gonna do this, and now look at you. Like, you promised, you couldn't even, okay, I can't even speak. First off, you couldn't even take me to prom. Then, you say you're gonna make up for it, and you can't even make it to that either. What the hell are you doing? So obviously, why did my mirror do that? Okay. So obviously, I'm absolutely infuriated. I'm just, like, yelling at him over the phone. I'm like, you need to sober the fuck up, and, like, da-da-da-da. And he's like, I can't drive, I'm sorry, like, whatever. I'm just, like, I'm so fucking mad. I'm hurt. I start crying, like, I'm just, like, I'm so hurt, because how are you gonna do this to me? So I'm just, like, talking his ear off, because I'm, like, I'm trying to explain to him why this hurts so bad. And he's just sitting there like, I'm sorry, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Like, if you don't fucking use your English vocabulary right now, I'm going to fly through the screen and fucking rip your head off your neck. So, yeah, I was really, really mad. And so I said, look, if you cannot make up for this by tomorrow, then we're done. Like, we're breaking up. Like, I can't be with someone who's gonna treat me like this. And he was like, okay, I guess we're done then. My heart actually dropped to my ass, because I just, like, was not expecting him to say that, but I guess he wanted to be done. I guess he didn't want to make up for it. So, I ended up doing some absolutely insane things that night, which I will post in another story time, because that was the craziest night of my life. So yeah, be tuned for that. I don't know why my mirror keeps doing that, but kooky highlighter. So yeah, that's basically the story about how I got ditched on prom night. He ended up going to, like, some kind of party that night and, like, beating some dude up or something. Like, I don't know. It was just, like, crazy. I didn't talk to him again for another, I want to say, like, 2 months until we got back together again, or maybe it was like a month and a half until we got back together again. But this will all be another story time, guys. Like, I swear. But yeah, that's all. Thank you for listening. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.
I once went on a date with a military man, and we met at this, like, sports bar place. And when I walked in, he was, like, pretty tipsy at this point. And he was drinking, like, the whole night. The date went fine, drinking the whole night. And I was like, are you good to drive home? And he was like, oh, I actually just Ubered here. And I was like, oh, why'd you Uber here? Mind you, we live in a small town. Like, Uber isn't really, like, a thing. Like, walking distance isn't a thing. Anyway, he was like, well, because I knew I was going to get drunk. And I was like, why would you get drunk on a first date? He's like, well, because I'm nervous. Well, anyway, the date was fine. Other than that, that was weird, but whatever. I gave him a ride home. First thing he did when we walked out to my car, I had, like, driven my dad's truck because, like, my car broke down. He was like, who backed in this truck for you? I was like, me. And that was the only comment he made, and then that was weird. Anyway, the next weekend, he was like, hey, do you want to go out again? And I was like, I don't know, but my friend's like, just give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, it was just, like, a bad date. So I went out with him again, and I, like, went to his house to, like, pick him up, or, like, to meet him there or whatever, and he was, again, like, absolutely trashed. And I was like, oh, you're drunk again. And he was like, yeah, you're gonna have to drive. So, like, we got Froyo, and then we were talking about my car situation, and I was like, yeah, I think, like, I'm just gonna drive my dad's. Like, my dad had just, like, this shitty Toyota, like a 1998 shitty Toyota. I was like, I'm just gonna drive that for a little while, I think, and then I'm gonna decide to get a new car later. And he was like, yeah, like, that's smart, whatever. Anyway, a couple days later, I talked to him again, and he was like, do you want to hang out this weekend? And I was like, I can't. I'm going car shopping with my dad. And he was like, why are you going car shopping with your dad? I was like, because I decided that actually I can afford a new car, so I want to get a new car. I've never had a new car in my life. I'm in a good position in life. And he was like, so you lied? I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you lied. You said you were going to drive your dad's little shitty Toyota for a while and then you were gonna decide to get a new car later. I was like, yeah, but after like further talking to him about it and like going over my finances, I realized I can afford a new car. And he was like, no, you're a liar, and you literally told me this 2 days ago, and then all of a sudden you change your mind. Like, what a huge giant financial decision you changed in 2 days. And I was like, okay, like, sorry. I don't feel like I lied to you. I feel like I changed my mind. And he's like, I just don't think I could be with a liar. I was like, that's fine. I don't think I could be with an alcoholic. And then we never talked again until he would hit me up in the middle of the night all the time to try to come over to his house. But obviously, ew, no thanks.
Worst date I've ever been on in my life. This was my freshman year of college, and before you come after me, no, I didn't have a backbone at this time. So, it is with a man named Spencer. Of course, we meet on Tinder. I decide that I am gonna meet Spencer at the Starbucks on campus. So, I go down to the Starbucks. It's in the Central Quad. We meet. He's fine. He's one of those people, though, that talks, trying to, like, it sounds like he's trying to narrate himself. So it's like, oh, I grew up in the depths of Chicago where I and my family do. Like, it's a little odd, but I'm like, he's a little off-putting. It's fine. We're all a little quirky. So we get to talking, and he's the guy who, well, actuallys you on everything. Like, you say anything, it's like, well, actually this, and it's just, like, so frustrating. So I text my roommate, like, the little SOS, like, save me, get out of here, because she knew. So she gives me a call. She's like, hey, I think I need to go to the hospital. I think I broke my leg. So I was like, shit, I gotta go. Sorry. I hope that was loud enough for you to hear it, because it was real, of course. So I walk back, and he's like, can I walk you? And I was like, sure. I mean, like, he knew what hall I lived in anyway, so it really didn't matter. So I, like, go. I go, and we parted the door, and he tries to kind of go in for a hug, and I'm like, yeah, okay, bye. So I go into the house. I think it's totally fine. I go up to the dorm. Me and her are hanging out. I was like, thank you so much. He was so weird, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, hey, you want to go get food? And I was like, yeah, sure. And this was like after like 30 minutes had passed. I walk out, we go to my car, and I'm parked like right outside the front door. I go to get in my car, and as soon as we get into the car, I hear somebody tug on my back door. It's Spencer. He waited, and he gets in the car. He's like, oh, we go to the hospital? And I was like, we what? I'm looking at her like, this was so out of, like, I could not comprehend what was happening, and I was like, I guess. So we, like, fake go to the hospital or whatever, and I drop her off at the corner, and she kind of, like, fake limps because she's a team player, if anything. And then me and Spencer just continually drive around. Like, I'm a little taxi driver, like, waiting for her to be done. So we wait, like, 15, 20 minutes, and I was like, oh, it was quick. And she's like, yeah, you know, it seemed to be fine. They just had I, like, sprained my ankle or whatever and to, like, stay off it. So she, like, commits to the bit all night. Honestly, great girl. So we ended up getting invited to a friend's, like, kickback after this to, like, go smoke hookah and all that stuff. And so I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So we're gonna go, and he is deciding that he is not leaving. He just wants to keep tagging along. And at this point, I'm like, we're gonna do it for the plot, right? So we go to my friend's house, and, you know, they're like, who's this guy? And I'm like, I can't get rid of him, but, like, he's here, so whatever, it's a party, maybe I can ditch him. So we're all hanging out, and, you know, we're all sitting there, and he's starting to talk about, I don't even know how we got in the subject, but he's talking about, like, how he lost his virginity to a woman that was, like, 4 times his age, and was talking about the barkeep in Ireland. And mind you, he's narrating it, like, deeply, and we're all like, oh my god, this could not be worse. And I cannot get rid of him. I'm walking around this whole house, like, talking to different people. I can't get rid of him. I finally, like, go to the kitchen to, like, grab myself a glass of water. He, of course, comes up and does, like, the hand over the cabinet, trying to kind of, like, lower me in because I'm shorter than him, and I am, like tunnel vision out of there. I could not get away from this man. Finally, at the very end of the night, I am like, I am done. I am tired. We are going. So, of course, we have to bring Spencer back because he drove with us. So we bring Spencer back, and I drop him off first. I'm like, where's your haul? I am making sure you get out of this car, not at mine. So we finally get out. He's, like, trying to kind of, like, lean into, I'm like, no, like, I'll see you, have a good night. And at that point, I just, like, rolled the window up, like, literally on his head. Like, he was halfway through the window when he was, like, trying to get out, and I was just like, sorry. And I went back to my dorm, and I shit you not, like, he tried to message me so many times, and this was before I was, like, at the point of, like, oh, we just block men that we don't like, and And I really wish I'd gotten to that point sooner, but I had to block him on literally everything because then he ended up finding my Instagram and just like, I was just so done. And so I guess what I'm saying is, Spencer, if you're watching this, never do that to another woman ever again.
I got pregnant when I was 16. Let's talk about it. Had my baby at 17. It's been a whirlwind since then. She's almost 13. So things worked out great, for sure. Like, we're happy. There were some rocky times, okay? It wasn't always like this. Talk about, first off, how I found out I was pregnant. School just got out. I'm grounded, not able to see friends. I have a friend stop by. We're sitting on my bed, and I just mentioned that I might be late for my period. And I remember, I don't even know why I said it. Like, I never kept track. I was always irregular because I was really active. But she's like, Sydney, this is a problem. Like, grounded. So she stops by like 2 days later with a pregnancy test. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so dramatic. I'm not pregnant. I take the test, and I remember looking at it, and there was a tiny, tiny faint line, nothing crazy, nothing obvious. And so we're like, meh, probably not pregnant. And she's like, oh, I don't know. She just didn't have a good feeling about it. I remember putting it in a drawer and looking back at it later, and the line was there. Like, it was very faint, but it was there. Especially if you would lift it up, you could see the line. And so I was like, ugh, okay, maybe not. She had texted my boyfriend at the time, now he's my husband, and was like, ooh, you need to maybe text Sydney, something's going on. And I was like, everything's fine. Okay, fast forward a couple days later, my parents leave town, and they ship me up to Northwest Arkansas, which is a few hours away from where I live, to go stay with family friends, which wasn't terrible because their daughter was also one of my childhood best friends. Anyway, we have a great weekend. We're doing all the things. We go to the lake with some people. I actually had someone hitting on me the whole time. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I could be pregnant. At this point, it was just, I was sick to my stomach because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I am? So I remember we stopped by the store, and I made up some excuse to get something. I ran in, got a pregnancy test, came out, and I took it later that evening, and it was very, very positive. And I remember locking myself in this friend's bathroom and just having like a second. I remember just really being anxious in spirit because he was at the lake house with his family, and told him, and that was probably poor delivery, but I just texted him, and then he called me. We talked about it. He was a little bit emotional, and he was like, I'll call you back later, because he was with family. He called me back later and was like, we got this, we can do this. It's gonna be okay. Okay, fast forward a couple days later, sitting on this information, got home, me and him, and we're just talking back and forth, and I'm like, okay, well, I've got to like tell my parents. So in my head, I'm like, I don't want to tell them unless I get a doctor to confirm this for me. So I'm like, Mom, I don't feel good. She makes a doctor's appointment for me. We go in. I remember checking in and realizing that the appointment was not with my primary care physician, which I absolutely loved. It was a female, and I felt like I was going to be more comfortable doing this with her. And I remember getting in the room and figuring out that it was not going to be her. And I just lost it. I started crying, and my mom's like, Sydney, this is very dramatic. Like, it's okay. Like, I got you an appointment. She didn't have availability today. And I was just upset. So anyway, in my head, I'm like, I Googled pregnancy symptoms. I am going to list every pregnancy symptom, and then he's going to test me for pregnancy. So that's what I did. I'm like, I've been nauseous, Anyway, he tested me for pregnancy. This poor man. Oh my gosh, it's the first and last time I ever saw him. And he comes back in. We did a urine sample, blood sample. Comes back in, and gosh, he was white as a sheet, and was like, well, it looks like you're pregnant. And my mom's head just dropped into her hands, and she was like, oh my gosh. So I remember us talking, and my dad's best friend was surprising him and coming in that day with his daughters. And she was like, do not breathe a word of this to your dad. Not yet. Let him have a day with his best friend. So we get like a couple, like half of this day in. This was in the morning that we went to the doctor. We get like half of this day in, and she's like, I can't do this anymore. So she calls me into their bedroom with my dad, and it's like, tell him. I remember telling him, and I remember he just didn't have anything to say, which is so not my dad at all. My dad is very like emotional and hot-headed, and my mom is like very stoic. Roles reversed. Like, he did not speak to me for 5 days. My mom was so pissed, hated my now husband, now she loves him, but was so like, blamed him like it was just his fault. So mad. So my dad looked at her and was like, Christina, you're gonna have to stop. Like, he's a part of our life now. This isn't his fault. And I remember once my dad started talking to me, it was just like, okay, everything's great. Fast forward to us meeting up. He had told his parents. We all met up for a little chit chat. In my head, I knew I was gonna have the baby. Abortion was brought up, adoption. It was very clear having this baby, and just abortion wasn't something we were interested in. We were just like, okay, we're gonna do this. The parents at that point were like, okay, shit, this is happening, and we're gonna support them the best that we can. So from then on in, it was just like, definitely some adjustment for sure, but we had a lot of support. So that was kind of the beginning of a very crazy next year.
Okay, so this is a story time. I saw Jen Hamilton repost a video of a girl who was talking about her worst first date. So I want to tell you about my worst first, actually it was the worst second date. Okay, so I matched with this guy on FB Dating, and our first date, he wanted to meet at a thrift store. So on my way to this thrift store to meet this guy, he messages me and says, oh shit, it's closed. So we're going to go to this thrift store instead. I was already annoyed because who takes someone on a first date to a fucking thrift store? So I get there. This guy is at least, I would say, 70 pounds heavier than his pictures on the dating site. So I was like, well, no big deal. Okay, whatever. Like, he was nice. Like, he was decently handsome, but still 70 pounds heavier than your pictures is crazy. So after we go shopping at this thrift store, it was the day before New Year's Eve. So he was going to this thrift store to get his friends that were having a party a present. And like, I helped him pick out the present, and then we went out to dinner. And it was fun. Like, we had a good time. And so when we left, he was like, so what are you doing for New Year's Eve? Do you want to come with me to my friend's party? And I was like, sure, let's go. And so like at the end of our date, he kissed me, and it was okay. Like, I wasn't super into it. Like, I was just going with the flow. So I left, I went home, and he texted me and he said, okay, so our New Year's Eve party is 80s country themed. So find an outfit to wear. Literally the day before this party. So fast forward to the next day, I go shopping. I get like this cowboy hat. I had a cute outfit because y'all know like 80s country is kind of like my vibe anyway. So I was feeling cute, and I left and met him. So I drove to his house to meet his, this is insane. He had 2 big Dobermans, and he told me that one of them had like the equivalent of doggy Down syndrome. Okay, cool. I like dogs, no big deal. So he had this whole thing where he like introduced me to his dogs like they were his kids. Which, like I said, I get, like, I'm a dog person, so no big deal. But it was kind of weird. So when I got there, he was drinking bourbon. So we started drinking bourbon. He then tells me, like, let's get an Uber to my friend's party. So we got an Uber, and I was already feeling kind of tipsy. We get to the party, and I walk in the door and I'm immediately handed like a double shot of vodka. And I was like, I don't think I can drink this. Like, this is not, I'm already drinking bourbon. Like, I don't think this is a good idea. He had already told me that, like, hey, I'm gonna have fun tonight. I might be doing rugs that you probably don't want to do. So I was already thrown off and like really weirded out by that, because I was like, why wouldn't you tell me this before I showed up? Anyway, we are karaokeing. Like, the vibes were not that were off, because there were like other women at this party and they were like already looking at me. They didn't know me. They were looking at me like I was crazy, like not jealous, but like these are not women or people that I even knew. So I was like, okay, whatever. So by this point, I'm handed another drink. I have no idea what's in it. I think it's rum. I was like, this is bad. Like, I'm on my third different type of alcohol, whatever. So I go in the bathroom and I was texting friends on TikTok and my kids, because they were wishing me Happy New Year's. He started banging on the door and he was like, why are you talking to yourself? And I was like, I'm using talk to text. I'm literally texting my friends. I'm not talking to myself. So he's like, get out of the bathroom, come in here. And so like, we go on this like porch and he's like, are you ready to go? Because like, I'm ready to go. And I was like, it's not even midnight. We don't have to leave. Like, he was so excited to be here and like hang out with these weird people. And I was like, okay. So he's like, let's get an Uber and just go back to my house. And I was like, well, okay. Like, I don't want to be blamed for like, you know, for this when we get back to your house and you're mad about it. He was like, no, it's fine. So we go back to his house. He starts acting like I'm his girlfriend and like we are going to be like spending the night together. So I immediately started freaking out and I was like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, this is our second date. Like, this is not happening. He gets really upset and he's like, I can't believe that I left my friend's party to come home. And this is just not cool. I can't believe you did this to me. Meanwhile, I have an entire video on my phone, like a 6-minute video where I accidentally recorded, and he was like saying it was fine. And like something in me knew that this guy was going to like switch up and be like, this was not fine. Like, we can't do this. Like, and he was going to blame me for like missing the ball drop. Go to part 2. Terrible date. So we're at his house and I was like, listen, like, I'm just gonna go to bed because like I'm not feeling this. I'm not leaving because I've had like 4 different kinds of alcohol. I'm not driving on New Year's Eve all the way back to my house, which was like 30 minutes away. So he's like, that's fine, you can have the bedroom and I'll just sleep out here. So I go in his bedroom. I'm sitting on the bed and I am texting my kids because it's like midnight, and I am going through my phone and like voice texting friends who have been like texting me and saying Happy New Year's. Okay, so this man, he is literally like 6'4", 300 pounds, comes in his bedroom and he's like, listen, you gotta go. I'm gonna call the cops if you don't leave. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Excuse me, what? You're gonna do what to me on New Year's Eve? Like, because I'm not feeling you? Because you're fucking weird? Like, you invited me to this party and acted so fucking weird and so rude about me voice texting my friends. Like, what? So I was like, fuck this. I called an Uber immediately. This African guy comes to pick me up in an Uber. I get in the car. I'm crying. I'm like, this is crazy. At this point, I was super intoxicated and I was like, can you just take me home? And the guy was like, yes, this is not like, he knew. He was like, this does not feel safe. And I was like, you're absolutely right. This doesn't feel safe. I'm not spending the night here. Drive. Get me the fuck out of here. So Meanwhile, this guy, his name was Blake, and he's like 38. Like I said, no kids, 6'4", 300 pounds, insane. Like, just this, he just feels so dangerous at this point. And I'm like, I'm pretty, good about sensing things like this. And I was like, I just need to go home. I need to not be here. I will leave my car here. I will figure it out tomorrow. I am not staying here with this guy and his weird dogs. And he's just not acting right. Like, he was just acting incredibly insane. And I think he had maybe done some substances that I wasn't aware of, that I did not partake in. And I was like, this is not cool. And so the whole way home, he's texting me. He's like, you are a weird bitch. This is fucking weird. Like, how dare you, like, ruin my New Year's? And I'm like, you invited me to this weird fucking party. I shouldn't have gone. Like, I should not have gone. But, like, he really was nice on our first date, and things just fucking spiraled. So I end up going home, and the African guy, the entire way home, he was like, Jessica, please never talk to this guy again. Never talk to this guy. He was like, you have kids. You cannot put yourself in situations like this. And I was like, who are you telling? Like, this is weird. And it was giving, like, I don't know, like, it was just really felt like a setup. Like, it really did. And it just felt so dangerous. And I was so proud of myself for coming home. So the next day I wake up and he was like, I'm just not going to hold it against you that you ruined my New Year's. And I was like, I ruined your New Year's? I'm like, I have an entire video filmed on my phone where you were the one that were like, we need to leave this party. They're acting weird. They're snobby. So he made it seem like it was me that wanted to leave and had weird vibes, but it was really him. And I'm like, you brought me to this place. Like, what are we doing here? And so I finally got so pissed that I was like, you know what? You catfished me. You lied in your pictures. You literally posted pictures of yourself 80 pounds lighter. It didn't even look like you when I showed up to the date. I was just trying to be nice, like, and not make you feel bad about your weight, or it was so fucking weird. So anyway, so the next day he comes and picks me up. He was like, I don't want you to have to pay for an Uber to come out here and get your car from my house. So he came to my apartment to pick me up. And so the entire way back to his house, we did not speak. Like, I was looking forward and I was like looking at him out of the corner of my eye. He's driving and just staring at me the entire time. And he's like, you're not even going to say sorry for ruining my entire night? And I'm like, bro, you brought me back to your house, figured out you were not going to get any, and then got mad and said you were going to call the cops on me because I wouldn't sleep with you. He threatened to call the police on me because I didn't want to sleep with him. And this has never happened to me in my life. So I was like, how'd that work out for you? How did that work out for you? I dare you to call the cops. Call them on me, please. What are you going to tell them? So anyway, so I go to my house, get my stuff out of his house. The second my car was backed out of the driveway, I blocked him. I blocked him on all my socials where he was following me. I blocked him on TikTok. I blocked him on Instagram. I blocked his phone number. Done. You are done. You have no access to me ever again. And then a couple of days later, I see him posted in the Are We Dating the Same Guy Louisville Facebook group. And someone was like, this guy seems a little weird. What's going on? I was like, yeah, I got a story about that. Anyway, that's my horror story of dating. First, second date, done. I'm done. I'm done with it. It's so bad. It's so bad out here in the streets.
I accidentally found out that the mom I nannied for was cheating on her husband. The husband, he always traveled for work. He'd be gone about 2 weeks at a time. He would still send the mom little gifts and flowers and things like that. Just anything he could, I guess, to make it
feel like he was still there. Every other week, like the pool guy would come. When I tell you, like anytime he would come, she would like suggest to me like, oh, like it's a nice day, you guys could like go to the park or something, like it's so nice. I'm like, okay, cool. But then one day I forgot my phone in the kitchen. I walk back in and I'm hearing some noises in the pantry, some noises in the pantry. Out walks the mom and the pool guy, okay? And she walks out and she's like, we were just discussing like pool chemicals. I'm like, okay, like that ain't none of my business what you're doing. I fast forward a few months later, she's pregnant. I'm immediately like, yes, like more money, more money. That's what's going in my head. Fast forward again to now, the baby's here. The baby has blue eyes, just like who? The pool guy. And the dad, his eyes are brown.
Mom pressured me to drink more than I was comfortable with. And then after becoming incredibly intoxicated, I went to my childhood bedroom where I took a shower. My mom came in my room with a strange man, showed him me naked in the shower, and because I was so intoxicated, I immediately got out of the shower and went to bed, where that man came in my room later that night and assaulted me. I have not seen my mom in over 2 years, and I don't want a pity party. I am saying this because while yes, the majority of perpetrators are men, women who fail to deconstruct patriarchal conditioning are perpetrators, are predators, and are equally as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than the men. Not because they will do more harm than the men, but because unfortunately there is this elusive aspect of their identity, because they're women, that people think they're safe. Pam Bondi going on a tangent, multiple tangents, about how Donald Trump needs an apology when he has over 26 essay allegations, has been legally convicted and held civilly liable by a unanimous jury of 9 for essaying E. Jean Carroll, and is now mentioned and implicated in thousands of documents of the trafficking, abuse, unaliving, and consumption of children. This woman, Pam Bondi, is perpetuating the patriarchy, protecting abusers, and not only that, but she is literally doing this in the faces of the victims as a woman. And it's just very reminiscent of my mother to me, because to this day, I still get emails from my mom. And I told my mom that I would consider forgiving her and mending our relationship and reframing how we establish our relationship if she took accountability for what she did and apologized. And to this day, she still will not take accountability. She blames me. She says that I chose to drink and that I put myself in a vulnerable situation to protect herself and this man who she was also romantically involved with. Women who are pick-me's, or women who fail to deconstruct the patriarchal social conditioning and in turn victimize other women, will essentially, quote unquote, protect themselves and the men in close proximity to them in turn, because it is a defense mechanism to shield the social conditioning that they have incurred. They will lie, they will abuse, they will comply, and they will participate in the abuse of victims. And that is exactly what my mom did. When she came into my room with that man and showed him me in the shower, she was using her identity of being my mother to lure me into a vulnerable state where this man could then do as he pleased and what he desired. And women like Pam Bondi women that are in close proximity to these abusers are equally responsible.
I'm crashing out. My parents just left. They were staying with me, them and my aunt for the past 3 days. We had a great time, but today I was gone for most of the day. I come back to a total switch up of the vibe. My mom's like really down. My dad too. They're just kind of like totally off. And they were like getting ready to go and whatever. And like when I said goodbye to them, my dad was like basically crying when he like hugged me, like really sad. And he was like, I hope everything's gonna be okay. And I'm like, everything is okay. Come to find out, I went into my laundry room. My mom had rifled through the shelves in my laundry room, found like an old basket full of like sunglass cases, AirPod cases, and an old bag of gummies that I had kind of like folded up, tucked away. We hadn't used them in a while, and I was like, surely she's not gonna look here for whatever reason. She did. Oh, she did. I went in there, I found that she had gone through snooping, clearly, because like you would have no reason for that. And the reason I'm crashing out is because I'm literally like hosting my parents in my home. I'm married, I'm a parent, I have a baby, I'm college educated, I'm 28 years old. Why are you still going through my stuff? And this is so especially triggering for me because one, there was absolutely no reason to. I think the only reason that you have to go through your kids' stuff is if they're actually in danger and you're worried for their life. But aside from that, it just reminded me of when 10 years ago she went through my diary and found out I had been having sex by choice. And so right now I can't even relax in my own home just knowing that this is what's going on.
Let me tell you a story. Back in college, about 112 years ago, 12 years ago, I really had a crush on a guy. He was an Aries. He was really fun, smart, but not that smart, you know, and had curly hair, and I just was a sucker for the curly hair and glasses. In retrospect, I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, I had a major crush on him, and we were friends for our freshman year leading up to this thing in 2008. And right before our freshman year ended, he agreed to start dating me. And we dated for like 2 weeks and then had to go back home after freshman year ended. And he gave me a kiss on the forehead. So embarrassing. Anyway, through that summer, he went to have a mission trip in Africa. Just at some point on that trip, or right after he got home or something, I talked to him on the phone and he was like, we shouldn't be dating. And I was like, why? Like, why? And he told me I wasn't Christian enough. And I was raised in the Lutheran Church, which, if you didn't know, is Christian. It's like the normal version of Catholicism, Germanified Catholicism. So I grew up going to Bible study in church, and I felt very strongly about my Christian faith, and I was a very good Lutheran at the time. Went to Bible study, you know, the whole deal. And this perplexed me because I was doing all the things that a Christian should do, right? I thought, anyway. I was going to church. I was doing my Bible study. Did I have a more inquiring, questioning mind than some? Yes, I did. But that never really came up in the relationship. I preferred to go to church services that were traditional with churchy organ music and the whole deal. And he was very much on like the new age mega church situation where they put their hands in the air when they were singing and it's like a rock concert, you know. I wasn't super into that, but you know, that's okay. I could be open-minded. So anyway, I got this feedback that I wasn't Christian enough. And so what do I do as somebody who's entire upbringing was about taking personal responsibility for things, I took responsibility and I said, how am I not Christian enough? Let me look at myself and see what that means. So I inspected myself. I have a Facebook post still on my Facebook profile about this exact subject. I said, what is Christian? What is it to be a follower of Christ? What does that mean? What does that mean to me? What does it mean to become more Christ-like? And the only conclusion really that you can come to if you are looking at Christ's words themselves, Jesus' words themselves in the Bible, is compassion, empathy, lovingness, understanding, acceptance, openness. Did I already say that? Giving away your wealth, feeding the poor, helping children, helping the disabled. It's really, really clear in the Bible what Jesus is all about and what becoming Christ-like is all about. So I said, well, I will work on that. I can work on that. That's something I can work on. I can become more compassionate. I can become more empathetic. I can become more selfless. And that has led to me moving away from the Christian faith. That has led to me becoming progressive and very, unfortunately, liberal is the only word to use right now. Very liberal. Very liberal. And to be completely deconstructing my entire faith experience, deconstructing religion, deconstructing Christianity, what spirituality means to me, what relationship means to me, what governance means to me, all of those things, because I made a commitment to become more Christ-like, which is lovingness. And I say this all because when I was at ballet yesterday, this older man who comes and who's kind of an interesting person, and we've chatted quite a bit, told me he boycotted the Bad Bunny show. And I said, well, you really missed out on a great show, man. Like, it was really great. It was really fun. The set was beautiful. Like, it's too bad. And then he kind of muttered some things, and I didn't really try to pursue the conversation with him. I kind of commiserated with another girl who was like, yeah, like, it was a really good show. But anyway, he said to me before class started, like right before class started, well, you know, the older you get and the more you accumulate your wealth, the more conservative you get. And I did not take the opportunity to say, I've actually found that to be the opposite. Because there's no way to convey in one statement what deconstructing your faith looks like, what deconstructing your view of the world looks like, what deconstructing your view of governance looks like, because you committed to becoming a more loving person. Me committing to becoming a more loving person has not resulted in me becoming more conservative. Because I started ultra conservative religion, right? But my pursuit of being more loving, being more understanding, being more empathetic, and being more compassionate, and understanding spirituality has led me away from conservatism. And I swear, if anybody comes into my comments and has an issue with that, I really feel bad for you. I do. I actually feel bad for you at this point. Because whatever it takes to wake you up is going to be really fucking painful. It's going to be much more painful than getting broken up with by some dweeb in college. And, I don't know, y'all. If pursuing a life of lovingness is wrong, maybe hell will be really nice.
When I was in high school, I was stalked by a boy in my grade, and pretty much the entire time I was told that I was being overdramatic and he wasn't really stalking me. And this is the story of the time that I saw him in another state. A little bit of backstory is necessary. I had known this guy since like elementary school. He was sort of like widely ostracized. He was kind of weird. He was kind of like a stereotypical like nerd, I guess. Like if you were to imagine a nerd from a cartoon, it was like if that was brought to life. And he attracted a lot of bullying, and I always felt bad for him because as weird as he was always like pretty nice. There was like, he was annoying, I guess, but I didn't see him as being like malicious. And I always remembered one time my mom said about this kid, she said, it's really sad, kids like that, because even when you're a little bit weird, people will treat you weird and then you almost become weirder. So I always sort of had it in my head that I would try to treat everybody nicely, treat everybody the same with respect. And I always treated this kid as nicely as I could. We were never friends, but we were not like enemies, I guess. Well, in middle school, there was a camp that we had at our school, and I talked about this in a different video, but I extended myself to this kid in friendship and basically offered for him to come sit at our table. And that was like part of the camp. They were like teaching you to be nice and reach out to people. So I did that. And after I did that, he kind of like latched onto me for the rest of the camp and like was just like wouldn't really leave me alone. He was hanging out with me the whole time. And I thought like, oh well, no big deal. It'll just go back to normal when we go back to regular school. But it didn't. He came and would sit with us every single day. He figured out my class schedule and he would wait for me outside of my classes. He would know where I was going to be before school. He would know where I was going to be after school. He would go out of his way and disrupt his own schedule to make sure that he was going to be where I was going to be. I regrettably, like, you know, I was a 14-year-old or something, 13. I probably led him on, I guess, by not being more firm. But when I explained this to like my parents or my friends and I said like, hey, he's really obsessed with me, like he won't leave me alone, they were like, oh, he just likes you, oh, don't be mean to him. And so I felt really, really bad, like to basically telling this guy to leave me alone. That being said, I was like not actively encouraging this. I was like going out of my way to avoid him. This was really like a seriously anxiety inducing prolonged event for me throughout the very end of middle school and into high school. I was like in a constant state of fear, basically, that I would run into him in public, that he would find me, and he never gave me any reason to believe that he would harm me. But you know, when you look into stalker situations, like that's pretty much where it goes. So I was a little bit scared. And this particular kid had actually been suspended from our middle school for bringing a fake to school and threatening an administrator with it before. So like I said, nobody really took me seriously except for my middle school band director, because I sat next to this kid in band, and he stepped in and he basically told this kid, like, leave this girl alone. If I see you talking to this girl, like, it's over for you. So shout out to my middle school band director. You're like one of the only men who has ever protected me in my life. So anyway, I did eventually tell this kid, hey, you need to leave me alone. I'm not interested. And he would back off. He kind of acted like super wounded about it. And always he would find like a pretext to reinsert himself into my life, whether it was through band, because this was in middle school. We graduated middle school, went on to high school. We had a different band director. So now we sat next to each other in band again. And there wasn't all of this backstory. And I tried to explain the situation to the new band director, and he really blew me off. And so once again, I was sort of like back involved with this kid, and I looked like a jerk. Like if he would speak to me, like, what am I supposed to do in class? Like ignore him, give him the cold shoulder. Like, you know, everybody kind of, like I said, when I would complain about this to my friend, they would make me feel like I was really overreacting and like he was completely harmless and I should just kind of like play along, basically. Like some of them would honestly even encourage me to like maybe go out with him once or twice. But that being said, whenever he would come and sit at our table, they would be like, Kirsten, you gotta get this guy out of here. Like, what's he doing here? So fast forward to high school, I did summer school PE because I was an overachiever and I wanted to graduate at the top of my class, and the only way to do that was to get your PE credit out of the way because you couldn't do honors PE. So I did PE over the summer. guess who is in my summer school PE class? I'm going to give him a name now. We'll call him Aaron. Aaron is in my summer school PE class. So we're together every day, 4 hours a day for 4 weeks. Yay. Once again, I tell him, you need to leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. So he's leaving me alone during this summer school PE session. I overhear him speaking to some other kids, and he says, yeah, my family is going to go on a summer trip to San Francisco. Well, I started freaking out because guess where my family was going on a trip to? San Francisco. So I go home from summer school PE. I start tweaking, telling my mom, Aaron's going to be in San Francisco. He's going to see me. He knew I was going to be there. He did this. Keep in mind, we're 14. I don't even know if like we had phones, you know, like there was really limited, this guy had limited resources to stalk me. He was a kid basically. And so rightly so, my mom was like, Kirsten, calm down. You're being ridiculous. He's 14. What's he gonna do? San Francisco is a giant city. He's probably not even going at the same time as we are. And even if he was, like, you're never gonna see him. So I'm like, okay, yeah, Kirsten is being ridiculous again. Of course, as always. She's right. I'll just calm down. It's no big deal. I do find out that we're going at the same time, but, you know, I'll listen to my mom. Whatever. I'll calm down. We go to San Francisco. We are there for a few days. No sightings of Aaron so far. We go to Chinatown. Our plan is to walk around Chinatown and go get dim sum. We go to the little, the fortune cookie factory, and we ask a lady that we speak to in the fortune cookie factory for a recommendation for a dim sum restaurant. She says, oh, you got to go to this one. It's here. You take this turn, this turn, this turn, and then you get there. We go, great, awesome. We walk to this dim sum restaurant. Halfway on our walk there, this lady, I swear she appeared out of nowhere. The same woman who gave us the directions pops up and goes, wait, I'm so glad I found you. I gave you the wrong directions to that dim sum restaurant. You actually have to do this, this, and this. And we go, wow, great. We get to the dim sum restaurant. We sit down, eat our dim sum. It was good, I assume. I don't know, because everything about that day was sort of eclipsed by this one event. We eat our dim sum. I'm sitting. My back is to the door. My mom is facing the door. And just as we pay the bill, my mom goes, oh my gosh, Kirsten, don't look behind you. And in the pit of my soul, I knew what was happening, and it was Aaron. Aaron and his parents had walked into the restaurant, and we get up to leave, and I turn around and we walked back, because this was like during a phase where he was not speaking to me because I had told him not to. And we walked past each other. We just made eye contact, and neither of us said anything to each other. Oh my gosh, it was the most harrowing moment of my life. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, I really truly believe that he had like found me there somehow. I know that sounds crazy, but like his parents knew who I was, and they were probably like, what's going on? Like, why didn't they talk to each other? Because this kid was always telling his parents that like we were best friends. And I know that because this kid also went to the same hairdresser as me, because our moms went to the same hairdresser. And I would get my hair cut and she'd be like, Aaron was talking about you. And I'd be like, oh. And basically I could just never relax after that. I was like so sure that this guy was tracking my location. Like I said, I know that that's not possible, but let me know. What do you think? Do you think that that was genuinely like a random coincidence? Did God really do that to me? Or was he actually stalking me? I'm curious to know what you think.
I've decided that TikTok does need to know about the first and the last date that I went on last week. I just took a shower and I just couldn't stop thinking about it the whole time. This has sat with me for days. So this guy and I started talking on Facebook. He adds me as a friend and weeks go by. Eventually he sends me a message after I like one of his Facebook stories. We text for like a week and then we make some real plans to meet each other in person. He says he'll leave it in my court and I can decide what we do. Now, I don't enjoy dinner dates. Not on first dates. I don't want to sit across from someone that I barely know and eat in front of them. And then it becomes like a who pays and are we splitting? I don't know. Like, I don't get into all that. But my idea was that we went to Barnes & Noble and we could walk around, you know, maybe stop in the cafe, something like that. So he offers to pick me up from my house and I went back and forth on that idea, but I finally decided that I was going to let him pick me up. The day finally comes, he knocks on the door and I answer. And immediately I realize, you know, he did look like his pictures, but something's just different. He starts talking and his voice, I don't want to insult him. His voice is not for me. But I'm like, hey, it's so nice to meet you, sweet car, because he had a nice car, and, you know, men like that type of compliment. So he's like, yeah, thank you so much. We get in. Immediately, I can tell we're not gonna vibe, but I'm gonna be positive because I have changed my mind before. We get to Barnes & Noble, we walk in. As we're walking in, he's talking pretty loudly and telling me some stories and stuff about his life. He starts walking us toward the magazine section, which is kind of next to the cafe. And we continue to just stand in the cafe while he is telling me a story really loud. And I'm noticing that people are looking. So I'm like, hey, let's just walk around for a little bit while you finish your story. So he holds my hand and we walk around and we make laps around Barnes & Noble for 10-15 minutes. So this is at about 6:30 p.m. and he's still speaking loudly. And not only is he speaking loudly, but he immediately starts divulging the arguments and the details of the arguments of him and his ex-wife. Like details. She said this, I said that, then this happened. I never asked anything about his ex-fiance or ex-wife, nothing. Like it was so awkward. So eventually I'm like, you want to just walk outside? Like it's a nice night. She's like, oh yeah, let's do that. So Barnes & Noble is on a strip and there's many businesses on this strip. I want to say maybe 10. We walk the length of this strip over 6 times. And he's talking basically the entire time. Most of it's not positive. He hits me with, I also just got diagnosed with MS last year. He's talking about like just how he is as a person and how he operates, and I'm like, oh, this is going not good. It's continuing to get colder and it's like 7:30 now. So I stop us in front of the Barnes & Noble doors and I say, do you want to go sit in your car and talk? Do you want to go sit in the cafe and talk? And he's like, yeah, let's go. And we walk into Barnes & Noble and he lets me lead the way and I sit at a table and he sits across from me and just kind of looks at me. At this point, I'm really not feeling it. I've gotten an earful of basically only his ex-wife situation. He has only asked one question about me in the last hour. So he has to be up for work super early, like leaving around 3 a.m. And at this point, it's almost 8. He had picked me up and my house is in the opposite direction of his house. So I'm like, hey, what if you just drive me back to my house because you have to be up early. It's like 30 minutes the other way and we can talk while we do that. And as we're walking out the front door of Barnes & Noble, he says something to the effect of, hopefully this isn't your way of not talking to me again. It was just unbelievably cringy. And to top it all off, he dropped me off at my house. I got out of the car. His high beams are on in the dark. We're standing in front of his car. I feel like the whole neighborhood can see me. He's like trying to embrace me. I'm not feeling it, but I don't want to be rude. And this dude knows where I live, so trying to play it cool. And as a departing gift, he gives me his favorite protein shake. Oh, and I forgot. He hugged me and told me, I'll let you know when I get home safe. I don't know if I really need to say more, but we will not be seeing each other again.
I just got back from a date that started at 7 p.m. It is 8:22. Welcome back to a segment we call Talking Shit While Deboning a Chicken. Today we're going to be talking about how I just got back from a 35-minute date. 35 minutes. I walked in at 7 o'clock. No, you know what? 7:03. I walked in at 7:03 after he was incessantly texting me, asking for my update. I said I was running a couple of minutes late. I said no more than 5. And he was like, okay, great. Like, I'm waiting at the bar. I take my AirPods out and I'm like putting it in my purse. I look to my right. This man is staring at me. I realize it is the man that I am meeting. Mind you, he said he was 6 foot. But I look over and I am staring him directly in the eye and I am 5'6". I'm sorry, but a 6 foot to a 5'6" lie a difference. You're not gonna get me with that one. So we've already got a strike, right? Okay, so we walk into the bar. All right, he puts his hand on my back. Like, I open my own door. Okay, man can't even open the fucking door for me. So I open the door, he's got his hand behind me, and then he like goes in front of me to then be like, oh yeah, I want that table. It's like, okay, clearly not even a single reservation. Like, this is just a walk up, go in bar. And so we sit down, whatever, QR code, he like scoffs at the QR code, and I was like, it's really not that deep, whatever. But he immediately is like, he starts to scan it, and then he sees that I pull out my phone to scan it, and he puts his phone away, and so I scan it, I'm looking at the menu, and then he takes my phone out of my hand to also look at the menu. He's like, I want this one, and he picks it, and then he closes out my phone, and I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, lady comes, gets our drink, order, and, you know, gets some water, and he's like, you're a water girl? And I said, yeah, no, I mean, hydration station is good for you, and your skin, I hear. He's like, oh, you're telling me I have good skin because I drink so much water, and I was like, we made a jump, and I don't know where we came from. He made a comment about how he, like, has lived in New York for a year, so I was like, oh, you know, obviously, where are you coming from? Like, what's the vibe? He's like, oh, I'm coming from San Diego, and I was like, oh my gosh, a San Diego to New York pipeline, like, you don't hear that super often because of the beach. He was like, yeah, but, like, who wants to hang out on the beach all the time? And I was just like, yeah, no, who would want that? Of which somehow this conversation transitions into the fact that I was like, oh, you know, why were you in San Diego? And he was like, well, my wife. Or I guess my ex-wife. And I was like, oh, yeah, tell me more. And he was like, well, you want me to tell you all my secrets? Like, I'm not going to tell you that. And I was just like, well, you're the one that responded that. Like, you could have lied. You could have lied. Or just said something. I mean, like, immediately, like, I already know I'm not going out with this man, and he can't think that this is going well. Yes, of which transitions into my wife, and then I stayed for a little bit because of my 99 children. Please explain to me why the fuck you would say that, because he immediately goes like, no, just kidding, but like, honestly, like, all of the sperm I pump out, like, it wouldn't be shocking. And then I start pouring some water, and he's like, oh, you're kind of making a mess, like, it's a little wet, it's a little hard for me to focus because you're making it so wet around here. He just, out of the blue, like, we took a sip, there was kind of an awkward pause, and he immediately goes, so you had a threesome before? I'm like, I don't know where he thinks this is going. Immediately transitioned to something else, and then he's like, well, okay, but, like, have you been with any women? Like, would you consider, like, can we talk about this more in depth? And I was like, well, you know, I've kissed my friends, like, ooh la la, but no. And he was just like, like, we're gonna have to change that for you if we're gonna work out here. And I was like, you think this is going somewhere in the sense that it is literally delicious. We have now drank this entire water cup before our drinks have even come, because I feel like I'm like so self-conscious of the fact that like I don't want to be there, and you can tell our server's kind of like, literally, what is happening? And so she brings our drinks. He had ordered some like vanilla vodka cocktail something or other that was like with cocoa, and it comes and it looks like an espresso martini vibe. He immediately looks at it and he was like, this is the gayest drink I've ever seen. I should have walked out right there. I was like, bro, not in this day and age. Like, no. He was like, I probably had like 3 sips left in my drink, and he was like, so you want to get out of here? Yeah, I want to get out of here and go home. Like, and then kind of stopped, and then finishing our drinks, the lady comes over and she was like, can I get you another drink? And I was like, you can kindly get me the check, of which I think he thought that I had changed my mind in a matter of seconds, because he just seemed as if, oh, she wants the check, we're obviously leaving together. The check comes, mans did not even attempt to pretend that he was okay with taking the check. Pull out my wallet and like put my card down, because I'm like, no way am I gonna let this man think that if he pays, he's taking me anywhere. So he doesn't even try to be like, oh no, like, I feel like I've definitely gone on bad dates with guys where they still say like, oh no, I'll pay for it, and like they clearly know it's not going anywhere. Just like, because, you know, chivalry, I guess, but clearly chivalry is dead in many a way. And he just didn't even blink an eye. The girl came back. She kind of gave him a little side eye when she picked up the check with both of our cards. Back, we signed. I put on my jacket. I started leaving. He's right behind me, and we get out the door. He tries to grab my hand, of which I obviously pulled away, and he was like, oh, haha, like, you know, at least we both have umbrellas, so we can just, like, be in the rain together and, like, go to our next spot. Next spot, sir? My next spot is going to be in my home, telling the internet about you, because you're horrible. No, I did not say that, but I literally was just like, no, my next spot will be going home. And he was like, home? Yeah, okay, fine. And then he just kind of is awkward. And just to really nail on the coffin for him, I was like, it was really nice meeting you. And I give him a little side hug, and he like tries to pull me in close. So that's on me. But at the same time, I was like, no, you do not get the last word in this. And so, yeah. Then I went down the stairs to the train in hopes that he was not following me. And now I'm here deboning a chicken.
One time, one of my guy friends, 24 by the way, told me he was matching with 18 and 19-year-olds on Tinder, and I turned and I looked at him and I said, you're matching with 18-year-olds at your big age? At my work, there was a father and a mother, and they had young kids, and the dad was on his phone leaving the restaurant, and the mother she was holding all of the bags and pushing the kids in a stroller. And I turned, looked at him, and I said, this is my nightmare. He got outside quick as fuck. Oh my gosh, honey, I could take that stroller. That's what I thought. One time, a guy catcalled me on the street, and I turned over, I said, what? He said, I said you look good. I said, oh, I thought you wanted money. And I kept walking. We had a little get together at our house in college, and there were these really creepy guys that turned out showing up, and they were making comments and being handsy all night. I told them, your Uber's here. They walked outside. I closed the door, bolted it, turned off all the lights, and we did not let them back inside. Come to find out, through the grapevine, he had to run home. The two guys. Some shrimpy kid told me he wants to beat my ass, and I told him I'd like to see you try. And he did nothing, so. This one guy was being really fucking mean to me because he was drinking, and I asked him if he was still fighting gay allegations, and that did not help with the anger, but I got to laugh. So I went with my friend to the doctor one time, and the nurse was positive that there were no female doctors that could see her, and I said, we will leave here if we don't get a female doctor, and coincidentally, a female doctor was available that day. So my grandma asked me a few weeks ago if I'm wearing sexy pajamas for anybody, and I said, Nani, when I want to train a dog, I'll go get one. Whenever I go to the store and there's like creepy fucking men that'll just lurk around the women's section like to stare and like ogle at women, I will look them dead in the eyes and be like, what the fuck do you need in this section? If I'm ever around men and they're like, oh my gosh, like we have to watch the football game, I'll be like, is it men's football or women's? And something about that, woo! And then whatever they say, I always say, oh, I don't give a fuck about men's sports. So this guy made it like his personal mission to insult me all fucking night that I was out in front of all of our friends. So I told him that his head was so far up his own ass that I couldn't hear what he was telling me anymore. One time I was in Home Depot with my mom. We were getting some stuff like for renovating our house. And the man at checkout said, how does it feel to be in man's world? I said, what the fuck did you just say? It was a very awkward checkout experience. This guy was flirting with me and on Snapchat, and I knew something was up. I stalk him. I find out he has a girlfriend. I keep it going. What else? What else? Taking pictures the entire time, send him straight to his girlfriend. This guy roofied one of my friends, and I fucking knew it was him. So I walked out and I said, let's take it outside, because if I ever fucking see you again, your face is gonna be in the damn concrete. Have not seen him to this day. He sprinted out the front door, have not seen him. If I'm ever around men and they always try and make accusations about girls around us and be like, oh, like, she looks like a hoe, or oh no, like I would get with her, but like she sleeps around, da-da-da-da. My favorite go-to is, I feel like you should be taller to make that accusation. Some girl was getting in the elevator of my building a few weeks ago, and she had like a huge cart full of stuff because she was moving in, and she was trying to like angle it to get into the elevator, and there were like 5 men just standing there watching. I turned over, I looked at them, I said, not all these fucking leaders and providers standing here and just looking. They got pissed. Regularly at my job, people will, fully grown men by the way, will take a Zyn out of their mouth and stick it underneath the fucking tables, and my response every time is, whose pet husband did this? Because I'm the one who has to take that shit off. But the women think that's hilarious whenever I say that to a table. There was this old ass, decrepit ass man on vacation that was checking out a bunch of very young women in a weird, grotesque, checking them out manner. Mind you, he looked 100 maybe. So I make it my mission to ruin his night. Hello? Any person that passes, watch out, he's a pervert. I don't care. What the fuck is he gonna do? He's sitting here next to his wife, not doing jack shit, and his wife is watching this happen. I knew I was onto something too when his wife is laughing at the jokes that we're making at him. Like, anyway, he got so uncomfortable. He had to leave. Aw, that sucks. You also made every single woman that walked past you uncomfortable as well. At my old job, a woman came in wearing a low-cut top. She was meeting some of her girlfriends, and she walks in, and my manager, male manager, says something about her boobs. I turn over, I say, you know you just said that out loud, right? He goes, yeah, like kind of rethinking. I say, oh. And I walk them to their table. The fuck? This misogynistic ass man at the bar that's like a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend for one of my friend's boyfriends came and met us, and he literally would not stop being fucking sexist, and nobody was laughing at his jokes. So I finally just turned over and said, oh my gosh, can you shut the fuck up? And everybody laughed, which made it 10 times worse for him. There was this one guy who literally played in my friend's face for 6 months, and then he just randomly shows up at the bar trying to talk some shit. So I cursed him out at the bar. Plain and simple. This guy was being an absolute dick to one of my friends one time, so I told him I wanted to put makeup on him. This guy came up to my friends and I at the bar one time and was like, hey, so you trying to buy me a drink? I said, you're the man. Him and his friends did not fucking like that response, I will say. This is my finished makeup look. Have a good day. One time I was on a lake trip, and it was my first time ever meeting the people on the trip. And one of the guys looked at me randomly, because we're all half fucking naked on a boat in our swimsuits. And he says, I see you have your own flotation devices. I said, oop, your addiction to porn is showing. And then we didn't talk for the rest of the day. He was really mad. This guy treated my friend really, really, really bad in their relationship. And for some reason, he felt like months later coming up and speaking to me at the bar. And after I told him to leave me alone several times, he started dogging her current boyfriend. And I eventually just got to one point where I said, if you're gay, that's fine. But like, why do you care what her current boyfriend looks like? Are you obsessed with him? Do you have a crush on him? There was a fully grown man in TJ Maxx in my hometown, checking out little kids. Little kids. I noticed that. I'd sit my happy ass in a recliner directly across from him and creep him out the entire time. I stare at him, I hold my phone up, pretend like I'm taking pictures of him. The whole 9 yards. Then he gets up, he runs away. I'm like, oh, do you not want to watch little kids anymore? I feel like it's been enough time to admit this one, but when I was in high school in 9th grade, I was in a like very male-dominated English class. Like majority of my class was men. We would regularly make jokes about how there was only like 8 girls in the class or something. There were these 3 kids that would watch porn in class. I was in 9th grade, and I reported them. Hope y'all are better now. But I think they all got like OSS or something. Maybe ISS. I don't remember. But I know that they were gone. They were not in class for like a week. Some guy came into my work the other day, and they were like fully grown adults. Like they could have been like around my mom's age. And it was a couple, and the woman came in and she was like, hey, we would really like a table for 2. And I was like, sure. And the man cuts us off in the middle of talking and says, do you have a good makeout corner? I go, excuse me? And the woman was like, shh, stop. Like, I'm sorry. I've been waiting my whole life for this. I turn over and I go, men, we lose our shit laughing.
Please stop scrolling and watch this video in its entirety. I have been accused of child sexual exploitation by Meta via Instagram and Facebook. 2 nights ago, I received a notification from Instagram telling me to check my account. When I opened up the app, I was notified that my account had been suspended and there was an option for me to appeal it. Once I hit the appeal button, it let me know that within a day they would review my account and let me know. About 5 minutes later, I was given back access to my Instagram and my Facebook because my accounts were linked, and they gave me a notification basically saying, "Our bad, here's your account back." This was at about midnight, and so I went to sleep afterwards. The next morning, I woke up to another notification from Instagram. This time I opened my app and was notified that my account had been disabled permanently. Immediately, I panicked. I went into the area where they let you know why your account had been banned, and it notified me that it was for child sexual exploitation, abuse, and/or nudity. I am a mother of 3 children. My account goes back to about 2009 or 2010. As I am a millennial, I was around when Instagram and Facebook first started becoming accessible to the public. So I have thousands of memories I no longer have access to of not only myself growing up, but of my own children. Friends I have made from around the world that I no longer have access to, as that was the only way we could communicate. My wedding pictures, deceased loved ones' profiles and pictures that I no longer can access, messages of people that I care about, the list goes on. I have never sexually exploited any child, not mine or any other, and I take this accusation very seriously. Unfortunately, because I did not pay for the Meta-verified accounts, there is no human being that I can talk to. I have basically been told to kick grass. I've tried numerous ways. There's no appeal form. There's no way to get in contact with anybody. After hours of research online, I have actually discovered that I am far from the only person that has had to deal with this situation. It's global. There are articles from Australia, Chicago, the UK, LA, Florida, the list goes on, of people being wrongly accused of something so heinous with zero proof, zero investigation, and zero answers. I live in Houston, Texas, and I have reached out to the Texas Attorney General's office as well as my local news station, KHOU. I have not heard back from either of these people. However, based on the articles that I read while doing research, most of these people, once getting a journalist involved, were able to gain access to their accounts again. So I am now asking the public and local news stations, honestly, even if you're not local, any news station, any journalist, please pick up this story. Please help me regain access to my accounts so that I do not lose all these very valued, cherished memories that I've built over my life, that I have had ripped away from me for no reason. I've been accused of a heinous crime that I take very seriously. I don't know if getting law enforcement involved is even an option at this point. At this point, I just need Meta, a human being working at Meta, to please look at my account and give them back to me, because I broke no laws, no rules, and I did not deserve this. So please, if you're watching this, share it, send it to your friends, tag your local news stations, tag journalists that you know, tag Meta, tag Instagram, tag Facebook, anybody. I'm begging. Somebody please help me. Okay, so I'm getting back on here to clear some things up from my last video because I was emotional when I made the video. I was very upset and in the heat of the moment. But I've got some really ignorant comments on my last video, so I just wanted to clearly state what my issue is. The pictures, my personal pictures of myself and my children and my wedding pictures, for example, obviously are not lost forever. Obviously, I did not just only upload them to Facebook. They are saved on my computer and my phone and my husband's computer and my husband's phone, and we're good on that, okay? It wasn't so much the pictures being lost, it's more of like the comments from loved ones, and when those pictures would pop up on memories, I enjoyed seeing them, I enjoyed remembering them, I enjoyed reliving those days. And you could think that's silly. I don't think it's silly, and it was my social media, so foo-foo. It was the loved ones, the friends. I'm gonna be 30 this year, so I've lost, unfortunately, quite a few friends from growing up and into adulthood that, you know, I go on their Facebook page and I look at the pictures, then remember them, and yes, I could have saved them. Obviously, in hindsight, 2020, of course I should have saved them, but I never thought that I would be accused of such a heinous crime and would lose my social media and not be able to do that anymore. Was that ignorant of me? Maybe. Sue me, I'm not perfect. The point really of everything was that Meta accused me and a lot of other people of one of the most heinous crimes that you could possibly be accused of. And if you're not guilty, like I'm not, it probably pisses you off, like I am. I'm pissed right now about it, because when they took my page down and they accused me of what they accused me of, at the bottom of the page they informed me that they're obligated to report me to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Obviously, I'm not scared of, you know, going to jail or anything. I didn't break any laws. I never have. I never will. I've never been in trouble with the law in any capacity, but especially not for what they have accused me of. It's more so that they can just get away with this. They took away my profile and have now possibly reported me to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and it's false. There's no proof. So I can't even clear my name. They're wasting time and resources for nothing. They've taken away all of my memories for no reason. They can't get away with this. So I will be taking them to small claims court. Upon the digging that I've done with other users that have gone through this, it seems to me that taking them to small claims, is the only way to get your profile back, because when they are served, they obviously have to have their real person legal representation dig into it, and so then at that point it's no longer just AI looking at your profile. It's a real person. So that's the route that I'm gonna go. I'm open to advice also. If anybody else has gone through this and successfully gotten somewhere, please, I'm open to suggestions. I'd like to go down every avenue possible, but I would really appreciate it if the people in my comments would stop accusing me of such a heinous crime, because if I'm suing Meta, I've clearly got the time and resources to track down and sue a lot of other people too for defamation. Hey y'all, I'm walking my dog right now, so this video might be a little bumpy, but I just wanted to give an update from my last videos. I didn't think it was going to be this long before I had an update, but I finally talked to my lawyer through Legal Shield. That is the route I decided to go, which I'll talk more about in a minute. But I talked to them. She was super nice, super understanding. They are absolutely being bombarded. Every legal firm that is in Legal Shield right now with people who are in similar situations are just absolutely bombarded right now with the amount of people that are going through the exact same thing that I am going through. So she gave me a little bit of a rundown of what exactly would happen, which is that I will be sending a demands letter to Meta via the legal firm. I gave them all the information about what exactly happened with me and with my account and my situation, as well as, you know, my usernames and the email and phone numbers that are affiliated with these accounts. She told me it's not a 100% success rate, but it is pretty high. She said if she had to put a number on it, she'd probably say about 80%, if not a little higher, which it's a gamble, but I guess those are pretty good odds to gamble on for it. She said that she's only had a couple clients that just absolutely did not get their accounts back, which is sad, and it sucks for anybody who's going through that. I hope that that's not my outcome. She said that a couple of these people, even it's their business accounts. These are small business owners that rely on these social media platforms. So it's terrible. And she sent 2 letters on behalf of these people and have received no information. So essentially what I gathered from the conversation is that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and there's really no way to know how it's going to go. They don't give you, they being Meta, don't give you any information on why they made whatever decision that they made. She said she'll send my demand letter, and within about 2 weeks, usually Meta gives you a response saying no promises, but we'll look into it. And within about 2 weeks after that is typically when her clients have been getting their profiles back. And she told me that I would know before she would know if I got my accounts back, because they would just be reinstated with no other comment. She did say that what she's been warning her clients about is that this AI system is so incredibly flawed that everybody should be vigilant. It could happen to you again, and it could happen to anybody at all. So Meta's just whack. The AI system is terrible, and they don't want to take accountability, and they don't want to answer anybody, and they don't care. They say when they respond to the demand letters that a real person is looking into them, but she believes that that's still not the case with the amount of people all over the world that are dealing with this and inquiring about it legally. There's just no way that it's human beings looking at it. It's still probably AI. So I guess as far as how that conversation could have gone, I feel pretty decent about it. I will continue to keep everybody updated with what goes on. Hopefully this time next month I have my accounts back, so we'll see.
For Mackenzie? Yeah, thank you. So how long have you been driving for Uber? Guess no response means not very long?
I'm going to preface this video by saying I'm going to be very careful with my wording and what I say on here. I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm very hurt, I'm very angry, and honestly I'm a bit scared. So over the past 3-4 years of my undergraduate career, I've been assaulted 3 times, physically assaulted 3 times, and I've had derogatory slurs hurled at me, basically, and I can't even count the number of times that has happened. And Title IX has done absolutely nothing. They've taken no corrective measures. They've done nothing to try to protect me. And the reason why I'm turning to social media now is that I feel like I have nowhere to turn. This is my last resort, and I need help with what to do moving forward, so that I just feel safe. So my freshman and sophomore year, I was physically assaulted at college parties. My first year, I did go to Title IX about it, and they did a no contact order, but it's a small campus where it spreads really fast. And the people that did this to me essentially went around and spread vicious rumors about me, and this made me just like feel very unsafe and very uneasy every day going to class, knowing that people would look at me in like a different way based on those false rumors. And a lot of those rumors still follow me around today. I've learned to in a way like cope with it, but it's still that wasn't normal for me to go through that my freshman year. The second time I got assaulted was also at another college party. I was behind a DJ stand, and this guy just like kept like trying to like shove me and like push me, and was fully like grabbing onto my arm, fully grabbing onto my leg. And I also went to Title IX about this. We also had a sit down discussion, just me and the Title IX person, but nothing came out of that. The most recent time was actually in October at a Halloween house party. I declined a guy's sexual advances. All I did was say no, I'm not interested. And he followed me around, called me the F slur, had his hands around my waist, and basically said I wasn't welcome at the house party. And when I told my friends who were there at the time, who I thought were my friends, who fully saw that person interacting with me, they cared more about not being thrown out of the party rather than sticking up for me and standing up for what was right. Kind of like the last straw was I was at this college party, like a school-wide dance this past Saturday, and I went to the bathroom, and a guy there started calling me the F slur, called me the T slur. By the way, he's on the football team at Bates. Just saying, just putting that out there. And that interaction really made me feel sick to my stomach. And I'm just turning to TikTok at this point because I just don't know what to do. I really don't. Title IX doesn't do anything. There have been no corrective measures. There have been no punishments towards the guys that have done this to me. And I feel just increasingly unsafe. This is why I have abstained from taking part in like a lot of club activities, because I'm afraid that like those guys will be there or like their friends will be there. I don't really leave my dorm much unless like I have like commitments or classes. My eating was also affected for a little while because of these incidents. And I feel like it's definitely taken a toll on my mental health for sure. I've definitely learned to, I feel like I've learned to cope with these situations a bit better. especially in the past few semesters. It's just not normal for me to, like, when I want to go out and have fun with my friends on like a Friday or Saturday night, it's not normal for me to always be on edge. It's not normal for me to always feel like I'm gonna be assaulted or I'm gonna have slurs thrown at me. Like, that's just not normal. So I don't know what to do. So I'm turning to TikTok.
What is one thing a person can say or do that lets you know immediately they were not raised right?
This is just a short follow-up to the post I made a couple days ago about meeting the love of my life and getting married just 4 days later. Nope. Engaged, not married. So I had a couple people ask how our families reacted. My husband's parents are amazing and they accepted me immediately into the family. They were super excited. My husband had been wanting to settle down and get married, and so they were just excited and happy for it. Kind of a crazy story though, a couple months before all of this happened, my mother-in-law had a dream, and in the dream, my husband was getting married to a girl and she was pregnant. And everybody was so excited and happy in the dream, and she woke up like with like a good happy feeling, but she was like, that's kind of weird. Like, why would that be a good situation? Which, like, I'm sure you can guess which culture we're a part of, but like, that's not ideal to be getting married while you're expecting. So she just thought that was kind of odd. And then once everything happened, she kind of took that as like a divine confirmation, which is kind of a cool story. My two daughters have always just been part of the family. They've always called his parents Grammy and Papa. They were actually the first grandbabies on that side of the family. So it was exciting and fun. As far as my parents go, they're never happy with any decision I make. They're pretty much never pleased with anything I do. So at first they were like, not so sure. But all these years later, I'm 99% sure that they like my husband more than they ever liked me. So it worked out. And then I also just wanted to thank everybody for sharing their stories in my comments. I have just been, I'm gonna tear up. I've been reading some of the sweetest love stories, and it's just really beautiful to see how many amazing true love, soulmate type situations there are out in the world. And it gives me hope for this crazy world that we all live in. And I just wanted to say to those of you who are like, wow, that gives me hope, like, keep going, keep trying. I firmly believe that there's somebody out there for everybody. So I know I'm very blessed, I'm very happy, and thanks for taking time to share your stories, because I love reading them, and it's been a fun couple of days to just think about our story from all those years ago.
Hello, so I just wanted to come on here and share little bits and pieces of my dating life, because it is honestly comical at this point. So I just want everyone to get a good laugh out of it. So I matched on Hinge with this guy, and we were talking back and forth, but I was going through a lot, so I wasn't really good at responding quickly. Like, sometimes I would take a couple days. And he would always like reach back out to me, which good for him for like being persistent. But if I were him, I would have given up. I would have been like, this is not worth it. But we end up scheduling a date. We go to dinner and then go to the Grizzly Rose to do some line dancing. Mind you, I've never been line dancing before, but I was like, you know what? We're going to give it a try. We're at dinner. Everything seems to be going fine at dinner. Like, he's saying some things where I can't tell if he's like joking or if he's actually serious, but I'm like, we're having a good time. We get to the Grizzly Rose. Him and I have our first line dance. It goes pretty well, I think. And then after that, he goes, you should dance with other guys. I'm like, okay. That's a little weird. Like, you and I are on a date together. Why are you telling me I should go be dancing with other guys? Like, maybe that's normal at the Grizzly Rose. I'm not sure. But him and I have another dance together, and then after that dance, he's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, so I'm sitting there by myself. Another guy comes up to me and asks me to dance, and I'm like, you know what, whatever, I'll say yes. As I'm dancing with this guy, I see my date dancing with another girl. I'm like, okay, this is very weird, but you know what, whatever, I'll ignore it. That dance ends, and then me and my date start talking again. Him and I are dancing again. And then he's like, I'm going to go get a drink of water. I'm like, okay. He goes and gets a drink of water. Another guy asked me to dance. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to dance with this guy. And as I'm dancing with this guy, once again, my date is dancing with another girl. But as I'm dancing with this guy, He literally drops me on my back. I hit my head. I'm like on the floor. My date sees all of this happening and doesn't even come up to help. So like red flag, but I continued to ignore it. And then me and my date have another dance, and then we're talking again, and he goes, you should ask that guy to dance. Mind you, most of the people that are at the Grizzly Rose are like old enough to be my father or my grandparent. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna ask this guy to dance. Like, that's just weird. He goes, fine, I'll ask for you. So he goes up to this older guy and he's like, can you dance with her? And so obviously he asked me to dance. Him and I are dancing. Once again, my date starts dancing with another girl. And what's weird is like after he's done dancing with these girls, he's like talking to them for a second, and it looks like he's giving them his phone number, but I couldn't really tell. I think that's what was happening, but I'm not sure. But I am done dancing with this older guy, and he goes, so what brings you here tonight? I'm like, so I'm actually on a date with the guy that just asked you to dance with me. And he goes, I know like we're in different generations, but like that just doesn't seem right. I go, okay, that's what I was thinking, but like I didn't know if that was something that was normal for the Grizzly Rose. He goes, no, it's not. He goes, is it okay if we go and ask some of my younger friends? He's like, I have a group of these girls that we see at the bar all the time. I was like, okay, like, yeah, how old are they? He's like 23, 26, same age as me. I'm like, yes, please, let's ask them their opinion and see what's going on. We're talking to them. I tell them the situation. They're like, yeah, no, that's not how the Grizzly Rose works. Like, if you're coming here single, like, obviously you're going to dance with other guys. But if you're coming on a date with someone, like, you should not be dancing with any other people. The only instance it would be okay is, like, if you're in a relationship and, like, agree to dance with other people. So I was like, okay, thank you. I'm not going insane. Like, I thought this was not normal, but I wasn't sure. And they're like, no, like, you should leave. I was like, okay, I was thinking about leaving, but I would feel bad. They were like, no, he's not worth your time. I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to leave. So he was out on the dance floor dancing with another girl. I straight up left. I didn't say anything. He didn't even bother to text me, which I'm like, okay, you know what? Whatever. Red flags all around. So I completely ignore it. And then I'm at another bar downtown a few weeks later. I run into him at another country bar. Him and I, we were standing right next to each other, didn't even make eye contact, but like I obviously knew he was there. He had to have known I was there, but it was like, what is going on? Like, this is so crazy. And the girl that he was at the bar with, he was like all over that girl and he wasn't dancing with anyone else. So I'm like, okay, clearly it was me and he just like wasn't interested in me. But anyways, that's my little story time of this date. We'll see what else is to come.